So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here and if you're returning, I'm so grateful and blessed to be here doing your reading. I'm an energy reader here on YouTube, and I use spirit and my intuition, the tarot, to communicate energies to you guys, fabulous viewers. So this reading, we'll be using these decks right here. I'll put a link to my playlist for those of you guys interested in the cards in these decks. We will be looking at a comprehensive sort of look at your journey with the person that you feel you're on a spiritual journey with. Okay, I will call this a twin flame, but you can certainly have whatever name you want to call it. And every single journey is completely different. Okay, so there isn't one sort of label we can slap onto it outside of a spiritual sort of experience you might be having that might be very unique with you and that person that you came here about. Okay, now everything under the sun is spiritual for sure. So you could be here in regards to any connection, although I do tap into the ones that could be very much woven into your predestined path. This could be something in which you share a very strong soul signature with this person. Okay, so I will call it a twin flame, like I said, but don't get hung up on labels. Okay, and if you don't resonate with this reading, then doesn't mean you're not on some sort of journey, but it's not being pulled through this channel for this reading. Okay, so, and I am only doing 3 piles here, so that doesn't leave a whole lot of channels open for the whole world. Okay, but those of you guys who are needing to hear whatever message does pull through, this is going to be a look at your journey in current state and where you're at. Okay, now journeys, nobody could tell you where they end up because there is no real end to a journey. Okay, but we can sort of get some insight from spirit and sort of look into the bigger picture and how it's going and where you're at, and maybe what are still challenges or maybe what you're still sort of trying to sort through here when it comes to this specific journey with this person. Now, this could be a look at your person's journey, right? Their own energy. This could be a deep dive into your own, which is usually one and the same here, okay? Because what happens when we're on a spiritual journey is very interwoven with the person in which is mirroring to us. So both energies could certainly pull through. Okay, so just kind of keep an open mind as to whose energy that belongs to. Could be blended. There could be multiple energies pulling through. If there's karmic people involved, there's circumstance situation. Okay, it could be mirrored, meaning you're not sure if it's you or your person, and then that certainly can be applying to both. Okay, or it could be your journey exactly as it's sort of relevant to your inner world. Okay, I don't sort of pick from a catalog what it is that pulls through here outside of asking spirit the question. So I ask the question and then spirit shows me whatever you need to hear. And if it's completely something else, I read the something else because that's what pulled through. It's nothing to do with me and all to do with spirit hijacking, knowing that you're going to click and the message is going to come out. Okay, so some people get frustrated. I put the title exactly as what I ask. And I'm asking about your twin flame spiritual / soul connection with the person on your mind, and where are you at in the grand scheme of the journey right here, right now? That's my question to the divine. Okay, so whatever comes through, and I read it exactly as it comes. Okay, and spirit knows exactly how I channel, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, it's sort of like a shot of whiskey, and if it's not your way of delivery, then there's plenty of readers on YouTube that do fast food delivery. Okay, so beautiful angels, we have 3 options to choose from for today's reading. I'm going to move these cards because these are the oracles I'll use. These are the tarot cards that I'll be using, okay? So that this way you can sort of lean into the 3 options here. And as usual, my readings are very energetically connected. So you could have your energy in one pile, your person's in another, a blended energy in another. Okay, but that's absolutely fine. You could find aspects of yourself in all 3, so just like I said, keep an open mind. Okay, so for option number 1, we have the Memento Mori Tarot. Okay, see. Option number 2, we have the Medicine Woman Tarot deck. And option number 3, we have the Heavenly Bloom Tarot. So take your time, beautiful people, and I do want to put the intention out here. If I have blocked your energy, then this reading does not apply to you, no matter what it is that you're picking from this reading. It may lead you completely astray because I need to protect this energy here. Nothing to do with anything personal outside of this channel is dedicated to those who are on a healing path, not those who are on a different path and still sort of somewhere else. Okay, every path is equally valid, but in this channel, there's a certain group of people here that I'm channeling for. Okay, and so I leave the door sort of welcome to all, and then I have to clean house. Okay, so if you'll know if I've removed you. Don't assume that I'm sort of talking to you, because if you're on a healing path here and you resonate with that reading and I haven't blocked you or removed you, then that message was for you. Okay, I just have to put that out there because it's very difficult to channel energy when there's too much distortion in the energy field. Some people want to perpetuate some sort of distortion, and I can't keep reading the same distortion over and over and over, unless, of course, they're really in a cycle and sort of trying to work their way through. Then I work with that person, okay? But I can really tap into that energy and see who's sort of going to benefit and who's going to sort of contaminate the blueberries. If they contaminate the blueberries, then you can go to another blueberry pack, but not here, not in this channel, okay? This channel is very much for those who are needing to be here. So sorry, I keep putting that caveat out there, and it sounds like I'm scolding people. People keep leaving this channel, and that's fine. You know, I'm not yelling at anyone. Just very matter of fact, I have to channel this way. This is how I channel. I love all of you guys. Doesn't matter where you're at in your journey, you know. I support you, and I can love you from afar, but I don't need to personally invest anything in anyone. Okay, I have to protect my energy, and I have to read the channel exactly as Spirit is sort of intending it to come through here. So I can't interject with my personal human sort of opinions and desires and feels, and that's not what I do here at all. Okay, so it's not making friends, it's not making enemies, it's not anything other than just channeling the energy. Okay, now if you want to ask me how my kids are doing and how I am, then if you have my text, you can text me. Okay, but this is not what this is about. So I felt I needed to say that. Beautiful angels, I'll leave this video running for a bit. Take as long as you need to sit here with this energy, and then we will get into these 3 options. I will see you guys at your pick. Pile 1, you guys picked the Memento Mori. I know you're just dying to see how this opens. Look at this. Isn't it fat? Anyway, you picked the Memento Mori Tarot. Memento Mori Tarot. Say that really fast 10 times. Tongue twister. So we're going to do a Celtic cross, and then we're going to look at the pre-shuffled oracle cards, which I have not looked at. And I ask Spirit for pile 1 and the journey they're on with the person on their mind, this spiritual connection that they believe they have. Okay, whatever you call it doesn't matter. This spiritual connection, where are you at with this person? Where is it at? Okay. Now we can't see, into the whole end of the line because there is no end of the line, but we can get a really good high level look at where are you in the scheme of things. Like, are you still knee deep in something here that's having to be resolved? And maybe it's your person's energy that's sort of on the forefront here in some way, and you're just sort of peaceful and coasting. I don't know what we're going to see. Okay, so keep an open mind as to how this plays out. I do want to say, I apologize to those of you guys who keep hearing me go off. Okay, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I have to keep this energy clean, and I am going to say this, for the while until it sort of passes here. The energy must be clean, and it has to be, in order for me to channel, I can't interject it with anything. Okay. So it doesn't mean I don't have opinions. Doesn't mean that I'm strict. Doesn't mean I'm, even do the things I'm channeling here. I'm channeling energy. So it has nothing to do with Linda. Okay. If you know Linda as a friend, you can text me, call me, do whatever if you have my information. Okay. But I'm not here to have like, now I do need people to come here so they can heal and find my information, because my mission is to help people to move forward. Okay. But it's not so that I can, just have likes and subscribes and videos for my own benefit. You know, I'd much rather be doing a whole lot of things for myself if it was just benefiting me in the day than spend 3 hours every day doing readings. You know, I do enjoy it for sure, but it's my mission, and this is what I'm dedicated to. And so if I sound like I'm channeling in a sort of way you don't like, it's how I channel, you know, and Spirit knows exactly what my purpose sort of is. And that's how I'm delivering the message. Okay. I'm trying to be as compassionate and as factual as I can. And I have to channel how it comes naturally. If I try to monitor all that then I'm not channeling, and I'm too restricted. And so I need the energy clear without distortion. So I will preemptively block, remove, and completely shut out any energy that compromises the whole collective here, because it's about people who are needing to heal, wanting to heal, no matter where they're at in their journey. But it does matter to me if this is the right place for them. If there's some other place in the darkness that these readings, my channeling is not going to be working, because there's other people that come through here that need a different message, I will do what's best for the whole of the collective, even if that means I only get 2 likes. Whoop-de-doo. Doesn't matter to me. The person who needs to hear it is what I'm channeling here. Okay? That's my mission. That's my commitment. And I don't care if I sound like a school teacher. There's plenty of readers on YouTube. So, sorry for those of you guys who hear that, you know, that's really needs to come through. So, pile 1. We're going to look at this energy and dive into your connection here. I can't wait to see. Okay. So remember, this could be your energy, your person's energy, could be mirrored. I'll do my best to see as many energies that pull through here, if there's karmic energies or whatever. Okay. Just so you get a good look at what's going on in your journey. So Spirit, clear and concise message for pile 1. I don't know if I called you pile 3. Weird. Pile 1. Their spiritual journey, person on their mind. Where are they at? Can we take a look at pile 1? So we'll do a Celtic cross, and then we'll lay all the cards, and then I will channel, okay? Pile 1, person on their mind in regards to, weird, I don't normally lay the cards out the way that I just did, but that is how they got laid out. Where are they at? What are they needing to know about their current state when it comes to this connection? Alrighty. Lots of cards. Okay. So we have commitments, 95 and 5 with the throat chakra here. Relational quality says solemn promise, engagement, implication, signature, word given, union to come. Type 5, the observer thinking center between interior, exterior. So we have some Taurus and some Sagittarius energy. We have journey. 43 and 7, Cancer energy, and we have some Tower happening here. Okay. Adventure, travel, trip, exodus, discovery, and migration with the heart chakra, the green, right? We have hard to read. You confuse me. You give me mixed signals. All right. And then we have you got away. You're the one that got away. I'll look for you in the next life. Stuck. And we have perfectionism, 19 and 1. Some Leo, Virgo, Gemini. It says excessive criticism, judgmental, rigidity, austerity, need for control. Okay, uncompromising. Type 1, the perfectionist instinctive center between control and letting go with the silver. Okay, silver to me could talk about the 3D self, or the self that doesn't feel like it's at its fullest potential here. Okay, red with the root chakra, 65 and 2. So some Pisces and Libra energy. It says initiatory ordeal, abandonment, refusing to help, social isolation, self-care, being rejected, feeling useless, traveling alone. Type 2, the helper emotional center between giving and receiving. It's kind of pulled me to this journey energy with this traveling alone. Okay, and then we have temporality with 61 and 7. So you have 77, master number, trust the fall, an adventure that arises from deep wisdom, trust of life, trust of self. Okay, Cancer energy, more Tower. So let's take a look at the tarot. Overall, we have the Hermit in reverse, Virgo, and it's crossed by the Three of Cups. Okie dokie. In the root, we have the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. And we have the Ace of Wands in the passing position. So 2 aces here. We have the Seven of Swords in the crowning position. Okay, and then in the future, we have 9 of Swords. In the self position, we have 2 swords, and we have the 5 of Wands in the reverse. Okay, sees others, other in the environment, we have the 4 Pentacles, and we have the King of Swords, which is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius in the reverse, and then we have 10 Pentacles. Okay. And then in the hopes and fears, we have 9 Wands. And in the outcome, never to be taken literally here, okay, we have the Hierophant in the reverse, Taurus energy. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Wands. I don't read bottom of the deck, reverse, and under that with Tower, which we picked up several times in this thing. Okay, so very clear message for me, very, very clear. Under that, we have 3 Wands in the reverse. Yeah, I'm going to get my wand, and I know exactly which one today. Okay, and begin to channel this message, okay? You guys can definitely click on the timestamp and skip ahead here. Okay, this energy is very, very coming through so strong, and maybe it's just confirming what you already know here, but it's one thing to just comprehensively know and understand, and another thing to go through it. It's painful, and we have to undo a whole lot of things within ourselves. It's like the mind sort of knows, but then there's hidden aspects within ourselves. It's like I give the iceberg because it's like the tip is what we know consciously. In order for us to make decisions, have conversations, like we have to have a focus sort of point. We can't be lost in everything that is and all the abundance of the universe and every single potential, everything at once, even though everything at once does exist, all potential exists, all timelines exist, but we're very specific. We're in that sort of conscious. And so as long as we're aware that there's lots going on beneath the surface in the subconscious energies, these programs that drive our actions, our words, and all of this stuff, and so if we're sort of, the conscious part is just sort of running the program. That's what it's meant to do, And so this is why being in the present moment, consciously asking, what am I doing? What am I saying? Where's it driving from? Is this from a wound? Is this from a shadow? What's my intention? Being very sort of aware of our energy, because then we start to question our beliefs and where they stem from, and we get a better look at ourselves. So high level, without me making this into a 10-hour video, you are on the journey of self-discovery through this person. This is exactly what these types of connections do. All connections obviously give us a mirror of self, but this is very profound here with this Hermit, okay? This means the only person I have to sort of rely on to figure myself out is me. I can't be influenced by anything. Society, how I was brought up, what is right, what is wrong, what is expected of me, any of that stuff cannot come into play. Now, does it mean it's wrong? Does it mean that, I can't sort of look at that stuff ever and make those values and those decisions? We can, but from a conscious place, once we sort of strip away what's not true for us and our authentic self. This is all about the truth of the authentic self that must come from a neutral baseline. And in order to do this, we have to strip away what's not us. Everything that we thought, everything we were trained to believe, everything that sort of happened up until this point that's still in our energy field that creates the version of you that you believe that you are. because this version of you has been programmed. It's been morphed into some version, and we identify as that's me. Those are my decisions, my beliefs, my values, what I need, what I want, and we really believe this, And it's like once we start to say, you know what, I have to detach from all that and undo these beliefs, so then I could really, really see what's left. The truth comes through. And this truth is where these decisions are going to be met, whether we want children, whether we want commitment, whether we want to go down a whole different path to create some other purpose because our mission was something else. This will only come through when we could see clearly. And so I feel like the painful process now is having to see clearly and drop everything that I thought was me in order for me to get the truth of who I am. And this is reflected in this mirror of this person. And I do feel now this is about your person. Okay. This is why I didn't spend so much time with that part, but you could probably be in another pile for sure. But I could spend hours there, because that's really reflected here. But your person is coming through here as what are they sort of doing? And I don't want to spend so much time on your person here because this really is about you. The sooner you, sorry, I know I'm jumping everywhere, but this is how the channel's coming in. The sooner that you can be in a hermit energy that is, there's so much coming through. My gosh, these readings are going to take forever. As soon as you could be the hermit that did this and then did this, meaning I went through, I cleared and had my tower, I deconstructed, I understood what's true, and then I came out of this solitary thing, because there's no point in us sort of going through, detachment and truths and meditation and, 10 years, 7 years, however long it takes, of a spiritual pilgrimage of self, and then stay inside indoors, in a monastery, just sort of praying to the Lord. Like, yes, we could do that if that's our calling, but it's not really, the energy will sort of go out into the collective for sure. Okay. Because heart energy is felt everywhere universally. Okay. But there's a need to come out of the hermit, a change sort of person. Okay. Or at least closer to who we are, in order to then follow our purpose here. And so I feel like for this group, this is one that's still in the blind about the truth of themselves. Okay. But for some of you guys, you could certainly be coming out of the hermit now. You've already sat, you've already released, you've already, okay. But I don't think so, because I don't, one, think that this pile would be for you. And two, the message I'm about to read here seems still like your person is very blocked. And so if your person is blocked, chances are you're really blocked about the truth. It still hasn't been seen. I feel this is a very strong mirrored energy here. Okay. So, but if you do understand what I am saying about you doing the hermit's pilgrimage and then coming out, okay. But some people think I am coming out. Meanwhile, they still have these rooted beliefs that are driving the pain. If you're in suffering, okay. If you're in suffering, there's some form of an attachment that you have, a belief that is untrue. It's the only reason why we suffer is because we're misaligned with our truth. When we're not suffering, then we know we're aligned with our truth. There's nothing to suffer for or from or anything like this. Yes, pain happens, but the suffering doesn't happen no more. Okay, so let me get into this, because I do feel a lot of you guys are being called to look at self. This is what this journey is about. And these are what these spiritual journeys are about. It's always about self. You always hear that, look to self, don't attach to your divine masculine. And it's like, we can't just do the action of, I'm just not going to look at that person because I'm being told. No, we have to really understand, what is the saying? We can't detach from a soul person who's interwoven in our energy. One, the intensity is way too strong for us to reject. What you resist persists. So we have to sort of accept certain parts of that person and their challenge and all of that. But we do need to take the energy and know that this journey is all about the truth of myself. And so I will use this person as long as I'm triggered, as long as I'm suffering, as long as I feel anything but alignment. This person must be sort of here, catalyzing growth, internal growth. So they're your mirror. They're telling you exactly where you are spiritually, what your truths are, where you're still holding wounds, where you still hold beliefs about yourself, where you're still in program. So this is all about undoing the program. I'm not saying it's bad. Okay, but it really is. And I know we're here in the 3D world. And so if we're just off grid living like unruly wild men, like, of course, then society sort of shifts here. But we've leaned too far into this as a society. And so twin flames, like I said, I'm gonna go off here. Okay, twin flames, if that's the name you want to use, they're pioneers. They're the first waymakers here in order to shift collective and their spiritual truths here in the universe, because we've shifted too far. Okay, people tell us what to think, how to be, what's right, what's wrong, what's accepted, what's not. And our true spiritual nature is all authentic and true to our own unique purpose. It has nothing to do with anything other than our own alignment, our own purpose. Then it has to do with fitting anyone's sort of mold. Okay? And this doesn't mean being completely like creating tension and arguments. No, that's not what this means at all. This is saying when we stand in truth, nobody can threaten the truth, and we don't have to prove anything. The truth does not bend. The truth is not threatened. The truth stands as the truth. Okay? But when we feel defensive, when we feel we have to fight for our truth and attain in that, then that's not the truth. Okay? So this mirrored effect is really coming through here, okay, as the message here for you. So I think we really need to, if there's one thing you take away, it's really know that there is self-pilgrimage that needs to happen, because there's beliefs we need to undo that's creating your programming, and it's creating a false self in the universe. And as long as the false self is sort of acting, no matter how good it feels, no matter how smart it feels, no matter how successful it is, no matter, it's like, why am I suffering here with this person or this experience? This is why, because there's a false self in play. Doesn't matter if it's a doctor, doesn't matter if it's a lawyer, doesn't matter if it's a janitor, doesn't matter if it's like a spiritual guru that's helping other people and thinking it's doing some sort of justice. If that's not the purpose, then that's a 7 swords. It's inauthentic and it's not aligned. There's a truth here that needs to be aligned. Okay, so this reading's about your person. Like I keep saying, your person isn't committing to you, and it's frustrating. Okay, this whole thing is about your person here and how it's triggering your sort of needs to do that pilgrimage. Why? Because there's something here that won't take, okay, like something very beautiful here that's felt. It's a divine connection. These divine connections are felt on a soul level, and it's like it's not taking root. It's not happening here because your person is not able to commit. They aren't able to entertain a 2-cup energy. This person has a very difficult time allowing their emotions to go to an intimate level in order to be vulnerable and commit to you as a 2 of cups. So this person could always entertain another sort of energy in their world. Okay, they could be in a third party right now because that connection's easier. They could be just dating a bunch of people and it's superficial because your connection's too serious. They can't get themselves deep. This could be energy here in which this person just has a challenge opening up emotionally, and so they keep it sort of friend zone with you, but it has nothing to do with other people. And this person could have a dependency that they rely on here that has nothing to do with a person, but it's a third energy that's getting in the way, and they use that crutch in order to not sort of get deep and commit to you. And so there's a new beginning here for them that's been offered in this connection. And it's like, how long do we sabotage? How long do we live in the false world? How long do we do this? You know, and we do this until the universe slaps us in the face. And at a certain point, organically, you, okay, the divine feminine, which I feel I'm going to read it this way, but you could definitely switch roles. The divine feminine, regardless of gender, organically gets to a point where she is no longer energetically sort of in the same state she was in. And she feels like she's slipping away from this masculine energy. And this divine masculine was too busy because of fear and inauthenticity, having to overcome his inability to open up, or his shallow relationships, or whatever, the drinking he used to numb himself and distract himself and not prioritize this connection. Okay. And that energy that he chose out of fear and out of this belief that he had, and then he gets slapped with the reality here. And what's the reality? How am I going to get to this divine feminine to stay in my world in some way? The only way is for me to have to face the thing I was trying not to do. So we have to face our fears. We have to. And so the ego, the false self, the program self, the trauma self, the shadow self, whatever word you want to use, is the king of avoidance. It does not want to do what it does not want to do. So it's going to dance around, delay, avoid, distract, believe what it believes, double down in it. And it's a process. It's like us, our high self, our Christ nature, fighting the devil. And there's only one way. Okay? John 14:6. And I'm not talking about Christian. I'm talking about the Christ nature. And our Christ nature, everybody has. And there's only one path in to see the truth of who we are, our divinity. Okay, so the Christ nature here needs to be seen. And the devil, the shadow, the obstacle, the distortion, the ego, tries to get in the way of this beautiful Christ nature. Okay, and it gets in the way here because it wants to protect oneself from pain and suffering, but meanwhile it's creating the pain and the suffering here because we're evolving to humans that don't need to have these this protection of the ego, because we're not cavemen, we're not fighting saber-toothed tigers, we don't need to beat each other up in war to survive. Okay, so we're evolving. We could become more spiritual in nature and tap into our divine light in order for us now to evolve and work together as collective, like I said, because this is a whole collective sort of conscious evolution, if you will, with the twin flames sort of leading. So someone has to sort of lead the example here, which means I have to overcome my great fears here. I have to overcome the false self. And unless I do this, then I'm really not leading anything because I'm just sort of still in the false self. So your person is very comfortable in a false self that they created. And so it creates a mismatch and it's a lie to their truth. This person fears commitment because it would require them to deal with their inability to get deep emotionally here. And so I think this person is avoiding a real thing with you. Okay, now your person definitely is pulled to you. Your person could definitely have a new beginning in their world and live in purpose and alignment here, but they're going to have to undo their beliefs because I feel this person has a belief of why commitment is not for them, or they're trying to go against something that would feel natural to them with you and refuse this thing and do everything that they can. So I feel both of you guys feel very stuck here, because it's like the more we resist the truth, the more we sort of double down with the ego, the more we sort of want what the ego wants, the more stuck we feel. And so this applies to you as well, because we could really feel sort of chained to a situation here. And it's like, I just kind of want to break free, or it's like, no, you got to deal with this. That's what it's about. It's not how do I make this person be different, or when will this person change, or how will this person know. We're stuck because this part of self, we have to look at the thing that's creating the shadow. We got to look at the thing that creates the false identity, or the attachment we have, the story we keep, or the upbringing we had, or the traditional belief, or the social construct that's been formed. And that's what I'm driving on cylinders. So this is the journey of both of you guys. You're both on this journey, okay? And so I feel like at first it's difficult to understand each other in this language. This is a spiritual connection, or trying to use, it's like a different language to understand something. It's like I'm trying to read it in English here, but this is all coming in like smoke signals. Like there's two different communication styles. Morse code, or reading text in a book. And so it's very different than what we're used to here. Why? Because the spiritual world, although it yet does include the matrix and the 3D, it is all an energy of intuition, it being in tune with the world that we can't connect to with the five senses. And it's very difficult to understand that, why all these dreams, why the telepathy, why the energetic weird stuff happening, why is this person, and we try to put it into the text, meaning the logical understanding. real world. They're not committing. These are all like 3D human speak. This is nothing to do with human at all. Yes, it's human, but at the same time, it's not 3D human, dense 3D only stuff here. So it's human, but it goes above, and it includes this spiritual realm. And so now we're just sort of focused on the spiritual realms more than we are this 3D rights and wrongs and whether they're committing or not. Okay, so I feel like this person's annoying to you for sure, because I do feel like this person has an energy here that's a little bit impulsive in doing what it is that they're called to do for themselves here, that protects the shadow and keeps the false self sort of protected. And so it's like, why does this person come in and out? And if they cared about me, they want to put me through this. Okay, like I said, trying to see it from the eyes of human. Okay, or we could say, why do they keep coming in? And I could feel that they have intensity or passion here. And then why that? And then, it's like these two things going on. I could feel their passion. I could feel the spiritual pull. I could feel the intensity. This makes me feel stuck. But I also know that I'm not an idiot here. And I also feel like if someone's just trying to, like, I don't know, be a player or like come in and out or like do something here, that I got to protect myself, because I don't want to just be taken advantage of. Now we have these understandings. We really got to dig in here, and really learn the dance, the truth of the universe. Does it mean I'm taken advantage of and let someone go hot and cold on me and just sort of be dumb? No. But this does mean, what am I doing? How am I intaking this? What do I feel? What are my beliefs? And we really got to dig into this whole thing. Then we engage differently. We see the whole thing different. We don't feel stuck no more. The stuckness only comes from a need to learn a lesson. This is all about a lesson in self. Okay? Like truly a lesson in self. How does it make me feel? And we'd only feel a certain way that's uncomfortable when we have certain things that need to be dealt with honestly within ourselves. I need commitment because I need some form of security or stability in my world that's externally given to me, because I can't create my own stability myself or my validation. And maybe we never understood that this was a deep wound that we carried, and we always felt maybe like we were confident, maybe we always felt like we were to do, maybe we always felt stable and secure because we were creating an environment of stability and security. And then all of a sudden it's like this mirror reflected a deep wound here. And this wound is one of being able to find our own security and stability and our attachment style to what we think a commitment means, and what does love look like, and what does unconditional love connect with when it comes to me, and how I give it to others, and that sort of thing. This is a solo journey. Okay? And a lot of people can't sort of sit in their own energy feeling completely at peace, whole and complete, without feeling lack, loss, abandoned, unloved, unwanted. No one sees me. I'm not this, or they're not giving me that. And I'm, that sort of a thing. That's all an illusion. And it's created by a belief that someone else in the world is going to make you happy, and that there is some person out there that's going to be your other half, It's like, yes, they could compliment you. And yes, they could be very tied to your soul. But this is all about them mirroring to you your greatest truth, so that you could sit in your great truth and find strength in that truth and overcome anything that is creating this instability in self, this belief in lack. Because the belief in lack, the belief that someone has to be something for you in order for you to feel safe, secure, and stable is an untruth. Does it mean that you can't look for a committed situation? No. Of course, like especially spiritual connections, they're very sacred. You don't want someone just sort of contaminating this energy sexually or introducing things that are inauthentic. Okay? But like I said, this isn't just about 3D dense stuff, what's happening and the physical. This is going on in a spiritual realm. So the spiritual realms are talking about what is still in the shadow, what is still beliefs in lack, what has been handed down to you that needs to be undone, or had the tower happen here. And if we're too focused on this person's commitment, whether they're coming or going, whether they're hot and cold, whether their energy is changing or shifting, then we're externally putting that energy rather than the internal plunge. The more internal plunge you can do, the more this ball moves forward in your journey here. So I feel you're stuck in somewhere here, still stuck here, because I still feel there's a belief here that there's something out there still, like still this person has to, as long as you have any thread of that belief alive, you still believe it. You're still going to bring an umbrella outside when you think it's raining. It's like when I say to you, like it's not raining outside, and you keep bringing the umbrella, no matter what I tell you. Say, no, I know, but I'm just bringing it just in case. It's like, no, then you really believe it's raining. Spirit says there's a belief here that you have to trust, and you're not trusting it, and that's fine. The only way for us to trust is to go through the journey. I could tell you it's not raining. You have to see it and experience it with your own eyes. Doesn't matter if you read it in a book. Doesn't matter how much you logically want to believe what I'm telling you. Yeah, it's a journey about myself and loving myself. Yeah, I get it, Linda. Yeah, we always hear that. Yeah, it's I get it. It's like, no, it's not about getting it. It's about going through it. You haven't gone through it, so you're not there. You haven't gone through the high school. It's like me going to high school and then me saying, well, I know 1 + 1 is 2, or whatever the algebra is, and I already know the content here. It's like, yeah, just give me my diploma. It's like, no, you have to go through the grades. You have to. There's no way around it. You have to go through it. It's frustrating. I don't want to go through it. But why? Because when you go through it, it's a whole different thing. Now I see I undid the belief. Now I could see me with true eyes. This wasn't in the mind. There was nothing to do with the mind at all. Yes, the mind sort of came in there as a trick or as a thing that I had to sort of work through, but it wasn't in the mind that it was solving it. It was out of the mind. It was the spiritual realms that had to show me about my own mind, see through this whole thing in order for me to then go through something that's very profound here. Okay, so it's a tower, and everything false must fall. And this person's whole belief of themselves, the story they told themselves, I don't care if they're 100 years old, if they're freaking 18 years old, that they are X, player, single, don't need a whatever, can't connect, it's not in my nature, I'm unemotional, or I don't know, whatever story they told themselves. It's an untruth, and it was a coping mechanism to keep them, the ego wanted to keep them from experiencing what they experienced in the past life, as a child. Whatever they experienced here created an imprint and a belief of themselves that if I love, I will be abandoned. If I open up, if I commit, if I attach myself to someone else and I get disappointed, it's like life or death. So I'll do whatever I can. It doesn't matter how deep I feel, it's a life or death. It's almost like if I pushed you into a deep end, and you couldn't swim, and I put out there things that you really like. I don't know, like your favorite jewelry, if you like that. What are your favorite person, your books, like $1 million home, and said, yeah, you finally get the home of your dream, and you're like drowning. Are you going to be like, the home, the baby? No, you're going to be like, save my life. Floundering. Save my life. That's the only thing you care about. That's what this is. This is nothing to do with, I love you so much, I'm going to just commit to you because you have overcome this thing. No, my life. I'm floundering for my life. I'm fighting for my life. I'm drowning. This is the ego's protecting itself. It cannot go there. It feels like death. Now, of course, the death is an illusion. We don't die. But this is what it feels like when we go through a spiritual death, an ego death, okay? A dark night of the soul, a realization of truth, feels like death. And really on the other side, all it is the truth of who we are. It wasn't even that bad. Like I said, we got to go outside and see that it's not raining, It's like if we believe there's a tornado out there, it's big boulders falling, and that's my belief. It's like I won't go out there, and then I'm like pushing this person outside to say, no, it's sunny. It's like, and we go out there. It's like, whoa, it's peaceful. It's sunny. It's like, why didn't I come out sooner? Yeah, well, we were too fearful here, And only we could do this. Like, it's only we can see it and go through it. Nobody can convince anyone because it's not a mind thing. It's an experience. So this experience is one of revealing the truth of who we are and seeing what's in action here and what's trying to protect itself come hell or high water. And it's not a truthful thing that aligns with the purpose. Now, does this mean that everyone will see when it's not raining outside, or that they can commit, that everyone's supposed to be married and have children? And no, because our purpose is all different, like I said. But if it's misaligned, if it's out of fear, if it's like fight or flight mode, and it's trying to hang on to an untrue story about abandonment and what love looks like, and it's at the expense of bonding, keeping me in shallow relationships, keeping me sort of networking but never fulfilled, then we're not in line with the truth of who we are. So I feel like this person is going to have to hit a point of 9 swords, which is really a difficult place to be. 10 swords is painful, but 10 means the end. We've reached some sort of conclusion and we are in acceptance mode, 9 swords is like torture. It's like death by a million paper cuts, on and on. It's like drip, 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 drip. It is the epitome of suffering here. It's a mental prison till we can't no more. And the only sort of way to be able to finally see something different, because remember, when you're swimming in the pool, thinking that you're dying, what could go on the other side of the pool that's going to get you to stop trying to save your life? Nothing, really, at the end of the day. But when we're sort of in that pool and we can't fight no more, and we're sort of drowning here, drowning, we finally succumb, because there's no other way but to succumb. So 9 is right before the succumbing of the truth. So we have to go through this because the drowning here is symbolizing the ego that is being seen through. The illusion of the false self, or the programmed self, has to be seen through a process of suffering. The mind won't shut up. The thoughts won't shut up here. And this is why it's so intense, why we feel stuck, why we feel pulled. If it wasn't, I could just continue living this fake life, being superficial, distracting, believing my own lies about who I am and what I was meant to do and what's right. And I can keep doing that. But the more stuck I feel, it's like, but I feel so stuck. Why? Because there's an intense love here. There's a true, intense spiritual love here. There's an authenticity of self that's true. And like I said, you can't bend the truth. The truth stands in its own. We could distort our own perception of it, try to come at it in 10 different ways, but the integrity of the truth is the truth. And so it's like this lie trying to fight this truth and butt up against it in all different ways, thinking it could outsmart it. It's like, no, there's no outsmarting the truth. The truth's just the truth. That's all it is. And the sooner we can accept it, the sooner the illusion falls. And this illusion is that I can't commit, and that I can't open up, and that I was abandoned here, And it's like, yes, it's an experience we had, but there's no need to fight people out or keep people out because of the fact that we got hurt one time, that it was an experience, So now we just remain under lock and key. So I feel like there is a stalemate here. There's a stagnation in this connection that's going on. And it's all happening internal. And it's the inner dialogue that keeps us in 2 worlds. It's like the truth, and then what I think is the truth. It's the hermit and the high priestess sort of going at it, And those are 2 different sort of worlds. And they're both very valid in some way, but it's really our perceived understanding. And so we're only victims of our perception. And that should be very freeing, And we could say, no, there's real people who rape and steal, and we could be real victims of things here. And it's like, things can happen for sure. It's not saying that things don't happen. Things are always happening to everyone, happening. That's the universe, up, down, things happen, accidents, happy things, everything's happening always to everyone. But whether we perceive to be a victim of it, how we intake it is always up to us 100% of the time. So how are we perceiving ourselves? Okay, so there's something about perceiving our situation that's going to free us from the nightmare. And so we only can work on our own perception. And so either I'm in the auto program belief and it's controlling my perception, or I'm conscious and I'm connected to my intuition in order for me to perceive what is closer to reality and truth, so I could get out of conflict. Because the greatest torture here is the internal conflict that's happening within both of you guys. There's an internal battle that's going on, and it's really at the beginning, it feels like it's created by the circumstance or that person, and it's like, no, it's actually an internal thing happening, because the mirror is being shown to you that there's an inauthentic self that's attached to an identity of who you're not, and then there's also an authentic self of you that's emerging, and these two are sort of sitting within you, and Spirit's saying you must identify the truth. Which one's authentic and which one's the program? What is a mind story and what is closer to objective truth? And like I said, we don't want to let go of our truth, saying, no, but that is the truth. It's like, oh, are you sure? Or is it a perception? Because is it stemmed from abandonment, and we're just kicking and screaming there in that pool, doing everything it can to believe that it's true, you know? And we're going to do everything we can to upkeep that. We will, because we feel we're drowning. We don't want to let go of that belief. We can't, because it means I will die. You know, that's what it feels like. And it's like, you must go through it. Okay, because we'll all feel like we're going to die. No matter how much I tell you it's not raining outside, you're still going to believe it's raining in some part of you, you know? You're still going to want to bring that umbrella. And until you go out there without the umbrella, then it's like, okay, the true self now is seeing the truth. So your environment here, 4 Pentacle, held back, blocked in the heart space, guarded, not able to give the pentacle, you know? That's what's frustrating. This person doesn't want to make an offer here, doesn't want to take it off the ground, doesn't want to explore this thing. They're held back. They're too reserved. They're withholding. It's like, yes, they are, because I already told you why, you know? It's at the expense of their sort of logical mind here that's telling them to protect themselves from abandonment. And so this person's own understandings of what they are and who they are and what's right for them and wrong and what's going to work and not work is really from a fear place here. And it's holding them back from creating a 3D reality with you, committing to you, building with you, you know, and we're here in the 3D. So it's like, you want to build, you want to commit, you want to know what the future holds here. Or otherwise, it's like, I don't want to burn and turn. I don't want to just invest in a Knight of Wands that's just going to fizzle out and not to build to anything. It's like, but this is the energy that they encompass. This is their protective mechanism, you know, firing on all cylinders here. Until they feel that you've got away, you graduated in some way, because now you're in line with truth. And when you get in line with truth, they get in line with truth, because you hold the conscious mirror here. Okay, so this whole thing to me is telling me both of you guys still haven't surrendered. 99 is a master number here. What's 99? Being the change you wish to see and helping humanity release what no longer works. What did I talk about? You guys are pioneering this growth of the collective, humanity, to see their spiritual nature. And the only way to see the spiritual nature is to go through the process yourself, the journey yourself of shedding the false self and connecting to your divinity and the truth. And the only way to do that is to surrender. But I feel like you're not surrendered yet, and neither is your person. And as long as you're not, they're not. I feel like you are tired. I feel like you've been through a lot. I feel like you're well on your way. I feel like you're still trying to protect yourself, for sure, because remember, the ego kicks and screams. It doesn't want to drown. If I say, just drown, it'll be fine. You're going to say, no, hell no. It's just a reflex. You're going to fight for your life. You're fighting for your life, you know? And it feels like there's nothing I can do. So what do you mean fighting? You're like, I'm not pushing on them. I'm not trying to convince them. I'm not, but we're still fighting, as in the energy hold is still so strong, because I don't want to die. I don't want to drown. I don't want to trust this thing. I don't want to surrender. Because then that's saying, yeah, I'll just drown. I'll just let it flow, you know? And that's really what it's required. It's a death process here. Learning to trust the intuition, the self, the process. But I feel you're still saying, well, I still got to protect myself. Like a boulder could still fall. It still could rain. It's like, no, then there's still the belief. This belief is untrue. It's not raining out. The commitment or whatever story you have about the build or about what you need or something like this, it's not true, you know? It's just a story that makes you feel safe. Makes you feel safe and secure. And of course, we all want to feel safe and secure, but this is the thing. Let's say my safety and security is like, but I must live on a hill in a house, be all caught up with my mortgage and have a job, and then someone else is to feel safe. I just need a little room and be by myself and, have enough to eat. That's my security. Everyone's level of safety and security is going to look different because it's really stemmed on belief, how safe we feel or whatever. Meanwhile, the truth is that everyone can find out what it is to feel safe and secure without it being sort of programmed into them, because it's going to change how they form their future. It's like it's going to drive me to make these decisions about what safety and security look like. And until I get it, it's like I could work myself to a sweat. Maybe I feel like only a $10 million mansion for me is my thing because I grew up in shambles, and I can really sort of relate with an energy because I grew up in not to turn about me, but this is sort of the thing. It's like how I grew up here is like made a version of me that didn't want to experience that whole thing, just like sort of floundering in life. It's like, no, I'm going to secure myself because I could control it and I can go and do it. And I did it, only to find out that, what does that mean? Nothing at all. So there's something here about still being defensive, still needing to surrender. And both you and your person are sort of not trusting each other either, because like this person's still not doing the thing that I think I need, and I don't know. And so we're stuck here and it's like, but you can't move away because you got to learn this lesson. So it's like, what do I do? I can't change them. And I don't want to drown. So now here I am, how exhausting. Death by a million paper cuts. Until the option is drown, drown because you can't change them. And drowning really means liberation. Drowning really means surrender. Drowning really means now the truth can come online. And when you do this, your person will come out. Okay, so there's a story you have here. This is all about shedding the light of awareness on the truth. And the truth is what's driving here is a need for some form of a security that some other person is going to do something different and then you'll be happy or then it'll be fine or then, it's like they got to officialize this or they got to do something in the 3D. It's like the 3D is a part of it, but there's a spiritual understanding and a connecting to that is the journey here. And so just know that this form is temporary. This experience is temporary, and it doesn't matter if you get married or have children or don't or whatever. It's a temporary because what's greater is the divinity. And yes, it's very high level here. And we can say, well, if I just focus on the divinity, it's like, it's like this faraway place that we're not really caring about. And it's like, this is a spiritual journey. This is a spiritual connection. This isn't like your run-of-the-mill 3D stuff, soulmate stuff that you can have with a 3D, pretty much a cat, the dog, your parents, your children, and a whole bunch of people. They come in and go. Okay, that's also spiritual for sure. But this is a high-level spiritual growth here. It's reflecting a deeper truth of your spiritual nature. And so, yes, it's about the 5D and connecting to all that and sorting through all that stuff, because that's actually the journey first, and then allow the 3D to sort of form based on the knowings, based on the undoings. Okay, but Spirit really wants you to know that the temporary body and experience and form is what you're sort of still believing and attached to. That's the part that needs surrendering. As long as I believe I'm form, I believe in lack. As long as I believe I'm the body and mind and my experience, I believe in lack, separation. And this is all about moving beyond separation and lack and loss. Because the truth, when we connect to the divine nature, only one way, or Christ nature, we know there is no separation, there is no lack, there's no being apart and abandoned. There is none of that. That's not true. That was a temporary experience we had that created such a strong belief. And I really sort of kept seeing that through that perception. I kept seeing that when I was thinking about going outside. It's like I kept seeing the rain, So I kept bringing an umbrella, and Spirit saying, I want you to stop bringing an umbrella. There is no rain. You just kept seeing the rain. It's false. It doesn't exist. Go outside without the umbrella. Trust me, child. And once you do this, you free yourself from suffering, because suffering doesn't need to happen when we see the truth of our divinity. The only way to work through pain and the suffering that we hold is to see that there is no lack, there is no loss, there is no separation. How freeing is that, That now I could see my own distorted perception. that I don't have to be victim to anything ever again. I don't have to feel sad. I don't have to feel abandoned. I don't have to feel lost. I don't feel that way. Now, does that mean my feelings are completely gone? No. Of course, we still have things that happen when situations happen, because like I said, form is always happening. Sometimes we have the flat tire and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have divorce, sometimes we don't. Sometimes things are happening here, but the suffering is a choice. The perception is the suffering. Don't have to be a victim. It's like, thank you, Lord, for showing me the truth of my situation. And it's always guiding you towards your purpose. Every experience is guiding you towards your purpose. It's all a blessing here, no matter how challenging it seems. So we could either sit there and suffer, or we could take what happened, which is neutral, by the way, and say it's for my highest good. It's for my highest good, That's acceptance. That's surrender. There's nothing you could do to change the external circumstance, It's all temporary anyway. Ups and downs. The only thing you can do is get centered. Okay, so beautiful angel, where you're at, you're in a place where you need to surrender. They're in a place that's going to sort of copy you here. 2 skulls here. Both of you guys are in a transformative time. Okay, the skull is giving me the ego death. It's giving me the transformation. It's giving me the release in the tower. You guys could be in a period of no contact for a lot of you guys. Okay, and it might feel it's over. I'm never going to see them again. No. Okay, this is why you still feel stuck. You still feel their energy. This is just a period of transformation in this connection, much needed in order for the false to fall away. There will be a reconciliation. I feel very strongly about this. Now, does this mean reconciliation? Now they're going to commit. Now they're going to, no. It's just a reconciliation of the next phase and the next phase, because the death process is slow. And every time we get shown their mirror, every time they come around, they're going to show me a little bit more of my Hierophant. Yes, please. Thank you. Come in, trigger me some more. As long as I'm triggered by you, thank you, because it's showing me more. It's showing me more, and it might be tiring. It's like, I don't want to be triggered no more. It's like, no, but you've agreed for this journey to be on this road of spiritual evolution, to free yourself. So thank you, person, for showing me my false self, my untruths, my programming, and parts of me that I was attached to, that I believed was me, that I thought I needed, freeing me from lack and loss and feeling separate from the divine and from my Christ nature. It's not true. That's what they're doing. That's what they're contracted to do with their unruly behavior. And once you free this and surrender, you will see your person will change, because you guys are very bound together here, okay? So Spirit's got your back. Your ego is trying to deceive you. Don't buy those stories. See what's true. Okay, I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello. Pile number 2, Medicine Woman. Beautiful. I could definitely feel your energy pulling through this thing, okay? Regardless if you're masculine or feminine, doesn't really sort of matter here. The energy here does feel, male or female, doesn't matter. The energy here feels like a very beautiful, divine feminine energy, but I don't know. We'll see. So what are we doing? We're really looking at your spiritual connection here, regardless what you call it. I'm going to be calling it a twin flame because that's the name I put on it. Okay. But we're all in sort of different sort of experiences. So it could be called whatever you want, but it is a profound sort of spiritual connection you have with whoever you came here about. Okay. And we're looking at the journey itself. Like, where are you at currently? What do you need to know about this thing? Is this going to be your person's energy, your energy, blended? Okay. But I do want to make mention here, and I'm sorry for those of you guys who keep hearing it. Okay. I know it's annoying and people keep leaving, and that's fine. I got to keep saying it because I have to channel energy and I got to keep it clean here. Okay. I don't care if my videos only connect with 2 people. Whoever needs to hear it needs to hear the messaging, okay? And so my job to channel that message exactly as I channel, Spirit knows, and it will deliver the message. And so I ask the question, whatever it is that the reading is telling me that I need to read for the day. This one is about your spiritual connection and the person that you're involved with here, or in your mind, and where it's going. Okay, if something else comes out, then that's what you're needing to hear. I cannot select from a catalog what it is that pulls through here. Okay, and so of course the description of this title is going to be what I ask, because Spirit knows exactly what I'm asking and what Spirit's going to deliver here. Okay, so if your energy doesn't sort of belong here because you're on a different sort of healing path that has nothing to do with how this is being delivered, I will block you from this. This isn't prevalent to you. This is only for those who are needing to hear this message and I have to be preemptive because this video is timeless. Okay, and remove any energy here that doesn't belong. And this is definitely going to lead whoever, wherever astray here because this has nothing to do with them. Okay, it's too much distortion here and I need to keep it clean. So this channel is going to be exactly that because that's my commitment to you guys in spirit and I don't want one rotten blueberry to ruin it for the rest. Okay, now does that mean they're a disaster? No, that means they could go sit with the rotten blueberries as long as they finally had enough of the rotten blueberry because I'm not going to let it contaminate this channel. I have to channel it exactly as it's sort of pulling through here. Okay, that's how I channel. So if we don't like it, we go to other tarot readers and get the scoop some other place. So let's take a look at the spiritual connection, beautiful angels, for pile number 2. Pile 2s come here and they're asking about the person on their mind, this spiritual connection they're experiencing here, and they want to know about it. Where are they at? Too many, Spirit? The Spirit's saying too many. We'll do that again. I'm going to do a Celtic cross. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. What is going on in this connection? Well, I feel like there's a lot of healing that's been done already. Okay, could be from this medicine woman, but I'm also feeling energy, feeling very, I don't know if it's balanced or it feels it's an ability to sort of go with the flow here. Pile number 2, the journey they're on, the person they came here about. What do they need to know? So we have the overall energy, crossing energy, subconscious energies, passing energies, crowning energies, immediate future, see self. This is environment, hopes and fears, outcome, never to be taken literally. Okay, I'm going to channel the energy. This is the energy sits, and then the overall energy of the connection at the bottom of the deck, or the overall energy, sorry, of the reading. So we have pre-shuffled oracle cards. I've not looked at them, and we're going to see what we see here. So we have short-term thinking with 30. 3, which is divine feminine. We have lie, 48 and 3, another 3. 33 is a master number. Reproduction, creativity, humor, Christ consciousness, joy and harmony, solar plexus energy, manipulation, cunning, secret, deceit, trickery, and imposture. Type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearance and authenticity. So strong solar plexus energy pulling through this thing. 3s are all about growth, relationships, initial success, communication, self-expression, groups. Okay. Attentiveness, 29 and 2. So 2 is both balance, duality, choices, polarity, contrast, root chakra here. So it says listening skills, selflessness, presence, support, generosity, and soul warmth. Type 2, the helper, emotional center between giving and receiving. All right, competition. I get intimidated and nervous knowing you get so much attention. 5 wands energy. And then we have waiting game. I've been slow to return, but maybe it's because I know you'll be waiting. And we have silence. Okie dokie. And then we have 42 and 6. So 6 is a lover's energy, but it's also devil energy. Okay, so conscious. Are we consciously choosing out of love or fear? Because usually it comes through with the 6 here. Okay, 6 is about problem solving, compassion, harmony. So we have some Gemini and some Capricorn. It says prayer, healing ceremony, protective ritual, mass, collective prayer, guided meditation, spiritual community, spiritual practice. Type 6, the loyalist thinking center between mistrust and trust with the gold, which is the high self. And then we have blue, which is the throat chakra. So 50 and 5, sharing knowledge, contributing to the world, welcoming emotions, committing, listening to feelings, daring to be a leader, incarnating your body. Type 5, the observer thinking center between interior and exterior. We have some Taurus and some Sagittarius. Okay, and then we have more solar plexus 63 and 9 with complacency, remaining in comfort zone, spiritual laziness, passivity, status quo, escaping conflicts, avoiding challenges. Interesting, we had 5 wands here. Avoiding challenges. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself with ego's pitfall. Okie dokie, interesting energy so far. Let's see what's going on here with the tarot. So overall energy, we have the Ace of Bowls in the reverse. That's the Ace of Cups. And then we have the Devil. And that's the crossing card here, Capricorn energy. And it says Trickster on it. Okie dokie. And then we have the Power Lodge of the Pipes. So pipes in this deck is wands, but the Power Lodge is the Queen. Okay. Queen of Wands with the pipes. So we have some Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Then we have the 7 of Cups in the reverse. Crowning position, we have, it says discernment here, and it's judgment in the reverse. Immediate future, we have the 2 of Cups, and it is in reverse. Okay, see self here, we have the exemplar of arrows. So this is the King of Swords. Just making sure here in the book, yes. King of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius in the seas environment. We have the 4 of Pentacles in the reverse. And in the hopes and fears, we have the 5 of Swords. Okay, outcome, like I said, don't take it literally. We have the Magician here, Virgo, Gemini, and this is resources. Bottom of the deck energy, we have the 5 of Pentacles, and under that we have the 7 Pentacles. Under that, we have the Hangman, and it is in reverse. Pisces energy. Okie dokie. I'm just going to do it like this. Give me some time to really dive into this energy here. You guys can skip ahead because this might be quite the message here, okay? Okay, pile number 2, I hope this becomes very clear by the time I'm sort of done here, because it sort of is difficult for me to tell at first, and then it sort of shifted as I was tapping into the energy. I do feel this is giving you insight into your person, okay? Now, we know these journeys are about self-discovery, of course, right? And so you are on a journey with this person for sure, 100%. I do feel, I'm going to read it this way, and if it does shift on me, then I'm sorry, because I can't sort of help how the channel comes through here. But when I picked up the deck, and the feeling I was getting was a beautiful, divine, feminine energy that's been doing a lot of sort of healing, you know, and has already sort of been in a very strong energy overall. So this journey could be like you're very, very ascended already. And it doesn't mean that this isn't painful, and it doesn't mean that this isn't as profound. But what I do feel like is like your experience, you know, is on a whole other sort of level here, because of the fact that you're at a certain process within your spiritual growth in order to always sort of show different parts of ourself that need growing here. And so how beautiful is the universe when the universe gives us, I don't know why I keep folding this fucking thing and it won't stay. It's just annoying. I don't know why I want it to stay, forcing it. Anyway, it's not going to stay. Okay. It's like the universe vibrates to our sort of level to flow and do whatever. And I think you've done this. I think what I am getting is a beautiful, successful, intelligent person who sort of has always understood their value, But there's always deep sort of shadows that go on within us. We're never fully healed, or there could be big parts of ourselves that just we didn't even know were sort of locked under lock and key, a belief or something. And so we experience lower vibrational stuff in our world. This doesn't mean tier system as in this person is worse or anything like this. Lower vibration, just a vibrational frequency. There's higher vibrational stuff, which is less dense, and then lower vibrational stuff, which is more dense. Okay. And so we sometimes have to experience these lower vibrational experiences in order for us to be reflected of some sort of something within ourselves, which benefits us in our spiritual growth. This could be about finally understanding our purpose or working to stretch yourself in the spiritual field so that we can come to earth and be healers or counselors or, spiritual seekers in a way that allows us to go on another sort of journey of exploration in the 3D at a whole other level. Okay. I'm not getting a whole lot of that. That was totally intuited here. What I see is your person's energy here. Okay. Because I think this is the question and why you come here. I don't feel as though you're hung up on a person here so much of this, you're definitely interwoven with this person for sure. And this doesn't mean that this person isn't involved in your experience. But I feel like you have a very good balance sort of energy that I don't feel like this person is so much driving a lot of your action, so much as it is reflecting certain things back to you. Okay. But I really feel like you're in this person's world. And now it's showing me your impact on this person and why this is sort of happening as it is. What you have, this person is learning. And I feel like they're maybe at a lower, when I say low again, I'm not tearing anyone, okay? But they're more of an infant when it comes to their spiritual growth. Their spiritual IQ, their SQ here is less than yours because they're a younger soul. They have certain experiences they're needing to go through that I feel you've already gone through. How to be confident in yourself, how to go after your dreams, how to, that sort of a thing. And I feel like this person is somebody here who doesn't trust in themselves to create the world for themselves, because I do feel there's a self-esteem sort of issue here, and this person could be very much floating in their world. And they're not really sort of trusting themselves to think about like a doable future for them, because it's like, if I don't have any confidence in myself in, I don't know, if I haven't developed this thing, then I sort of just flounder in my world, So I feel like this person isn't as graduated as you are spiritually here. And that's fine, because this is exactly the types of mirrors we need. You're giving them a mirror and they're giving you a mirror here. And so I feel like this person does seem to be somebody here who sees you as somebody who's definitely out of their league. Okay, which is just a self-esteem thing talking, It's like feeling not good enough. And for them, having to see their own value and seeing how you carry yourself and pushing beyond this. And maybe it's like you give this person the mirror of showing how to still be confident in their energy, how to listen to themselves. You're present with this person. You support this person. Maybe you're generous with your time. You're receptive. You look beyond this sort of surface thing, because I feel like this person has a superficial surface way of seeing themselves, and then they act like that in the universe, and it's like discounting themselves. their potential and all of this stuff, you know? And so I feel your kind heart. I feel your unconditional love here. And I feel the deep spiritual sort of experience that's happening here, because this feels like one of unconditional love, seeing beyond the superficial, being able to, and this could be it, you know, it could be that you had a more superficial experience in this lifetime. And it wasn't that you're materialistic or you were like a fake person. Okay, so when I say superficial, it means more concerned with the material realm, you know, how I look and how kind I am and how others perceive me and whether I'm like successful and whether I can go after it and make my dreams. And all of that stuff is great because we're here in the 3D. But when we graduate from the solar plexus, you know, from law of attraction and being the doer and being the CEO and being successful, that's all like still material, lower chakra stuff. When we graduate to the heart chakra and the spiritual realms, it's beyond the 3D. It's not about, you know, how successful we are here, the world we've sort of created in the material realm, which is just form. And it's like, whoa, there's a spiritual greater truth about me and my divine purpose. I'm here to be of service. I'm here to give love. I'm here to connect spiritually, soulfully, and we might have lost our soulness or spirituality somewhere along the line of upkeeping this material world, you know, upkeeping the image and driving in the 3D world, believing we're that of the body and this experience, and that was it, or that's sort of what we focused on. And now here comes this spiritual mirror of someone here who I feel you feel very, 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 very tied to. And it's bringing out your high self, and the high self is connected to the spiritual realm. And of course, the high self includes the matrix self, but it's all sort of you and coming into balance. And that's why I said I feel a very beautiful balanced energy, because I think you've already played the matrix world, you know. Now, of course, there's always things to sort of learn and do. Much like you hit the ceiling, you know, whatever the ceiling was. I became successful. I knew I could do it. I was confident in myself. It's like, yeah, that's all sort of old news now. And so this beautiful energy is a very beautiful ascended spiritual energy, you know, through growing through this difficult person, because this feels almost like an infant spiritually, someone challenged in their own beliefs of self. They don't believe in themselves. They don't see their great truth that you see, you know. And I feel like this person's giving you the beautiful blessing of you being this beautiful contribution of love and light to humanity or to the collective, sharing your knowledge, your spiritual knowledge, your authentic truth. And I think it drove you into your purpose. I don't know what your purpose is, but I do feel it's tied to the collective. Okay, it could be tarot reading, it could be counseling, it could be however you contribute to the collective, because you're aligned with your authentic path and calling. And if you're not, you will be, based on this experience. And I think you're waking people up, not just your twin, okay? I feel like you're really impacting collective. You will be. Your truth. I'm seeing a lot of people wearing white, okay? I was getting your energy from this. The white is this gold here, okay? Why? White is the pure self. The pure self is untainted by all of the egoic sort of constructs and beliefs, which is the gold self, which is the high self, the highest state, the potential that I could reach. Okay, and then all the blue, and he's wearing blue, is the authentic self-expression. And the blue, being the throat chakra, isn't just about being able to speak our truth, but it's also being able to hear and intake truths and not distort it with our own perceptions and our own ego and our own fears. And it's like, I think you get this person. It's like, I get you. This is throat chakra stuff. I can take you in without projecting anything of mine on you or pain stories. And maybe you did at one point, you know, because I do feel like you had to align here and maybe go through figuring this thing out. So I feel like this person feels seen by you, feels loved by you, feels accepted by you. But it doesn't matter how much you love, accept, and are present. This person has to have buy-in from themselves. But when we don't have that environment around us, we can't feel safe to do that. And so we continue sort of drifting, you know, with the people that make us feel self-conscious, or we don't have a safe space to see the truth of who we are. And so I feel like you're providing this soft place for this person to be able to see who they are. But only they can do that through a process, which could be very frustrating, annoying, take a lot of time, because it hasn't been developed. And it's like this sort of belief is sort of built, within us, because we have a parent that believes in us, or we have unconditional love supporting us, or we just develop this strong inner trust of ourselves and this confidence or this need to do something. And then we achieve something, and we achieve another. And then it's like, hey, I believe in myself. I've achieved. I've proven to me. I've done it, and if this person hasn't done it, succeeded, made something of themselves, if they tried maybe and failed, or if they thought they just can't, so I won't even try type energy. And then I float here and I just sort of play little. And so this soul, your person's soul and spirit, needs to grow spiritually. It's like, what do you mean you can't do it? There is no can't. There's only a can't if you believe you can't. And so it is possible to be in our highest self and go after certain things and accomplish certain things, rather than not even try, or just sort of flounder and never grow and never push ourselves to. And it's not even about push as much as it is trust ourselves to align with what's true and what we're capable of, and just sort of believe the lie that we're not good enough, we can't do it, it'll never succeed, So it feels sort of sad here. And so I feel like your love is unconditional. I feel like you've always been here sort of available to this person, which has given them a safe place to expand. Because if we say, okay, now this is where this could be very tricky. If we say, if you're always around for someone, they take advantage of you, and you have to learn about your boundary, you know what I mean? Because it's like you could become very drained. And a more ascended spiritual person who understands love, and it's all love, and they're me and I'm them, because I already can see that we're all one. This isn't about keeping someone out so that I could protect my own energy, because it's a them versus me. This is about love. It doesn't have to set any sort of thing other than just being accepting, seeing the truth as it is, and not letting triggers get in the way, and finding the balance and not get drained and not lose myself in this process. Because when something of a lower vibration, like I said, it's not saying your person's lower than you in any way, like less than, vibrating on a different sort of energy frequency, we could get pulled into that whole thing, and we could get drained, and we could, lose ourselves, and we could definitely have to sort of put up boundary to protect our energy. But then we learn how to sort of navigate our own energy, that nobody is going to take from me, because there's nothing to take, and that person is me. And so I can engage with them without losing myself, or I could not engage with them without, having the need or whatever to prove myself. And so I think it's been a fine dance for you. How do I involve? How do I engage? How do I not lose myself? How do I remain true to love? How do I not let my ego get in the way? And how do I not sort of fall victim to the 3D lie that this person believes about themselves, that they're incapable, or that they, because we could start to see this about this person when they just keep like doing the same sabotage over and over and over. It's like, so I feel like this person is sort of an opposite of you, if you could speak your truth, if you're confident and you have sort of a built world, it's like this person is incapable of speaking their truth. I feel this person has a challenge communicating their authenticity. I don't think they believe in themselves so much. I believe this person feels like they put you for sure on a pedestal, and they also feel like the world is something challenging to them. And so you would be someone here that's on another level. Okay. And so I do feel like this person, in order to protect themselves, has accepted and given in to the fact that this is how I am. And this is sort of where I'll stay, because it's comfortable for them. It's complacency. And it's not out of a laziness so much as it is a belief of failure. And so I stay complacent to protect myself. That's the big lie. That I am only capable of X and that's it, It's like, no, actually, you're not. And so they're being pushed to see a greater truth about themselves, speak their truth, engage with bigger things and ambitions and see dreams come alive in front of them because they are capable of this thing. So they have a sort of an imposter syndrome about the truth of who they are and their spiritual nature, but it's really more 3D based, because I don't think that this person is all of a sudden, even though it's very tied spiritually, I don't think all of a sudden this person is going to become some spiritual guru in any sort of way. I feel this person is just learning the matrixy lessons, how to be successful, how to be confident in themselves, how to just stand behind their dreams and take action in the 3D. Like, it feels very 3D based, which feels like a divine masculine energy, by the way, very typical of a twin flame, masculine, feminine energy, where your energy feels beautiful. But I feel like you've graduated the matrixy sort of stuff here, and you're really growing in the spiritual realms of yours. So it does feel to me like you've had past lives, you might have been like a shaman, a healer, a medicine woman, some sort of a counselor, some sort of a spiritual therapist, in a past life here. And I feel like it's very strong. And so you might have a skill here that you sort of maybe don't know how to explain, like that's just sort of come online here as a result of this connection. Your spiritual gifts came online here, and so I do feel it's a blessing, although it just like any challenging, this or spiritual connection could be very, very challenging in order for this to sort of be seen. So I feel like what lies in the heart of this whole thing, is about one's own confidence in self when we're here in the 3D, and the truth of that in which we can create. And is it based on a material egoic sort of falsity, or is it in line with the truth and understanding our own power, or power to be master manifestors here? The belief and the understanding that we have everything we need to create a world. But what sort of world do we want to create? Something someone else needs or wants, or what is most important here to create? And I think you're a conscious manifester of what matters. And I think this connection has been showing you what matters, where you want to be of service to this collective. And I also feel like this mirrors to your person the tools for them to believe in themselves so they can manifest for themselves outside of what they have been manifesting. Because I feel like their manifestations have been showing them maybe that they're not good enough, or that they are a failure, or that they can't do it, or that they don't succeed, or that they don't have nothing. It's like they keep mirroring this thing. And here you are, this beautiful energy here. So I feel like we had to sort of see beyond the illusions. And I do feel like this connection could have been something you were having to really navigate spiritually. There could have been a lot of sort of a noise, because I do feel in order to go through this type of a journey, it is your energy felt already sort of ascended in some way. And maybe you're very good with your sort of fire intuition. Okay, because the Queen of Wands also has an intuition, but it's fire. It's different than the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups, the watery intuition, the moon intuition, it could be very ungrounding and scary and confusing when we're thrown into that. And you could have been, I don't know if you have fire in your chart, you could for sure, It's like I could read people. I like have this like fire intuition. I know how to respond, how to engage, how to connect, how to interact, how to work with people, how to be liked, how to make successful things. It feels like a very beautiful fire intuition. But the water intuition might have been like avoided, because maybe you don't have water in your chart, or maybe the feminine energy was something that was suppressed within you. That intuition, that watery intuition is definitely being experienced by you, whether you like it or not. And I feel like it might have been very discombobulating because it was coming online saying, hey, don't forget about me. Don't forget about this watery intuition. You've been driving with fire, and if you've been driving with fire, that's fine, because that's how you've been managing, but you are all things here. And this watery intuition is much needed for that, in which you're aligning with, your purpose here, because I feel it is, like I said, in these spiritual realms here. Okay, so I do feel like this journey for both of you guys is really, again, about self, okay, but self-love, diving into one's own ability to see one's own self-worth, self-value. We see two people here in this Ace of Bowls, Ace of Cups, okay? Normally Ace of Cups is the one, but I feel is mirrored with both. I feel both you guys on this journey. I feel like this waiting game, and you've always been sort of here in presence. I feel like this is a journey between you and your person ever since you've met them or it started. You guys have been totally connected here, okay? Even if it's not in the physical, it's been very, very much you and them, you know? It's felt very much the same way, both of you guys here. But it's like for your person, it's self-love and self-acceptance and diving into the Ace of Cups that they haven't been able to have confidence in it because it stems from a lack of sort of self-love and belief. And with you, I feel it's the water intuition part of self that's been sort of suppressed here, the feminine part, you know, and maybe it was like at the expense of my emotions or really bonding and connecting in relationship. So the Devil crossing is definitely the lessons learned, you know. It's like, what was keeping me stuck in the matrix world, or where was it that we were both having to overcome? And because I feel like the devil part is the shadow part or the obstacle that seemed very real, and it was keeping me staying stuck or small or not allowing for the spiritual growth or the expansion of self. And this connection highlights that within ourselves that feels devilly, you know. It's like, am I going to give into that fear? Am I going to give into that story of I can't, or something like this? Because I do feel this person is stretching you beyond your own even understanding of how to engage in a connection and be available in a connection and maybe give of yourself and be of service of yourself and tap into your own emotional body here. You know, that might be having to overcome certain beliefs that I don't know, about relationship or about yourself or what love looked like, or fears of like, you know, certain patterns and ways of being that we might have kept doing in love, or how we bonded with people that was really sort of keeping us chained to some unhealthy way. And it's like a spirit really talking about this connection is all about how to open up to another through the heart space of oneself. And so without going through the self and learning the lesson of self and this whole thing and seeing through that illusion of how we hold ourself and our belief of self and tie into our own trust of our emotions and love of self, then we can't be sort of in a conscious, beautiful two-cup engagement here in the 3D that is spiritual, you know. Now we can engage with people in a two-cup, but it's not a true two-cup. And so maybe you've had relationships that have been sort of transactional, you know, or based on how other people could sort of validate you, and now you can sort of give to other people, and it's been very transactional. And this is all about sharing from an open heart space, truly being vulnerable and trusting and having that sort of come back to us. So one message is really coming through very strong right now. Your person wants to give you the world. I feel your person is somebody who knows how to sort of express themselves through a doing rather than it is through sort of a saying here. But I feel this is something that's taught, you know, that's learned. Now, because I do feel like your person is very challenged here with connection. And I think maybe you've been successful with connections, but I feel like there might have been a block to really bonding on a deep soul, like one-on-one. And you might have had a deep, deep fear or something suppressed within you that is reflected in this connection, a belief of yourself in some way that maybe was only seen in this connection, which was not allowing you to experience true two cups. Maybe you thought you did or thought you were. Okay, and this person for sure was incapable of sort of bonding with another because there was the lack of self-trust and love and acceptance here of self. Okay, and the self-worth issues that I was talking about. So your person could certainly have coping mechanisms with the devil here that are not helpful. You know, devils could talk about even bad habits, vices and addictions, and, you know, toxic situations, even where I use toxic loosely, but just lower vibrational things here that sort of support that belief and keep us staying stuck, you know? So this is a shake up and a wake up for you guys to see the truth. And so I think what you were sort of needing to see is what they're doing in the 3D and then discerning the truth. Because yes, the 3D is a truth, but it's a fraction of the truth, that this person could seem like they're unstable or unmotivated, or even at times could be toxic, or, if you want to use that word, or destructive, or self-loathing, or, have these sort of aspects. And it's like, who would in their right mind ever consciously engage with that whole thing? Unless, of course, you have this Christ nature about you that knows that that person is you, and that matrixy experience is just the surface here, and that beneath that there is this beautiful energy of divine Christ-like nature in your person here, and having to discern when your energy gets sort of pulled into that whole 3D thing, and when to sort of know when the higher self is coming in. And that takes a lot of spiritual growth here. Okay, so I do feel like your person here is somebody who's definitely more in their mind about stuff. I feel like your person has a challenge when it comes to giving to you, expressing to you, sharing with you, being open with you in the same way that you give to them. It's a challenge for this person. And I do feel like your energy is someone here who is moved beyond playing safe, holding your cards close to your chest, being withheld. I don't feel this is a challenge for you, because I'm feeling, like I said, I'm reading your person's energy. And I also feel like with this discernment in reverse and this exemplar of arrows, which is the King of Swords, I feel like you could have been very much, like I said, in the fire intuition and going sort of with that sort of feels, And now we're in the watery sort of energy and learning about the water intuition, but also now it's like mastering the mind, like not letting the mind of what I created as a story in the past, but really knowing certain things and balancing these things out with the truth of what I've experienced here with this person, so that I can act in discernment and not sort of be, drifting off to this sort of 5D place. And the reality of my situation is somebody here who is challenging, somebody here who might still be an ego, somebody here who might still be acting in a certain way. It's like, how do I discern? And I feel this is what you're working through, because I still feel there's things that are, excuse me, not fully seen or understood by you at this point in time. Okay, but I feel like your person's working through coming out of their comfort zone. Because like I said, complacency is comfort zone. It's not a laziness so much as it is, I don't fear being where I'm at, because there's no expectation of anything that I might fear. And if I have an expectation of myself, what if I fail? What if I'm not good? So there's a lot of this conflicted internal dialogue. And I do feel like your person doesn't believe in themselves to go after what their dreams are and what they want. And I feel that they want to experience love and want to experience you, and you're giving them this opportunity. Okay, but they can't sort of, they have to go about it in a way here that transcends beyond a fear, and learn to trust. Because I feel like this solar plexus energy that I'm really tapping into here, I'm feeling from your person, is a confidence that must come before we sort of graduate to the more spiritual realms. Because confidence is a great thing to have when we lack self-confidence. We have to go through those lessons, more matrixy lessons. I call it matrixy because when we graduate to the spiritual arena, it's not really necessarily about confidence so much as it is about truths and, flowing with that. But it's all sort of spiritual for sure. Okay. But I feel like you've already sort of graduated from a belief in self. This person doesn't believe in themselves to confidently sort of pursue a connection here that they truly want. And I feel like your love has been here on the side, supporting, present, loving, caring, accepting, giving. And that's a beautiful gift. But it's conflicted here because it's like, what's the discernment here? What's the truth about being here? And do I have to martyr myself here? Do I have to find a balance of myself here? How do I give of unconditional love, but still be able to support myself and love myself and understand here what it is that I'm being called to do by spirit, as this person sort of grows in their confidence, grows in their own independent self and trust in themselves. So I feel like both of you guys are going to be learning and working through this sort of lessons of discernment of self so that you guys can navigate in the 3D, because I do feel there's a purpose here. Your purpose is very much in line with, like I said, delivering something here in the spiritual realm, but bringing it to earth. So it's more aligned with the truth of divine purpose that I think only could have come through knowing this person and going through the journey. And I feel like your person has a purpose that couldn't have been delivered here if they believe they couldn't. So they're being called to deliver something here, and I don't know what it is. It could be just, walking in a different field, or like building a home, or doing something they never thought they could. It's like that was their purpose, They didn't trust that they could. It's like you have everything here to do that in the 3D. So both of you guys have a deliverance here in the 3D that can only come from the authentic self. The self that is reached through a mirror of experience when you see the truth of who you are and what you're capable of. Okay, and so I do feel like the connection has shown you periods of time where maybe you've really feel, and you might still feel put out, because I don't think your person is able to match your level, when it comes to vibration. And so this 5 Pentacles, it's like I don't feel maybe like the warm embrace, like my person's not telling me, and my person isn't as present. My person doesn't feel like they're as emotionally warm or loving, and it's like either I could see that there's lack and loss and separation and feel abandoned and be victim story, or I could understand is that this experience I'm having is something to show me a great truth here. And so I do feel like this is a connection in which there's a lot of investment of time. And I do feel you're being of service to this person. And I do feel like this person does feel like they've been very stuck, frozen. And you definitely could have been experiencing the cold end of this experience, And it's like, how much of ourselves do we devote and commit ourselves to? Are we seeing the truth? Because we could get stuck in the spiritual martyrdom, this is the spiritual ego. I am learning of the unconditional love, but therefore I'm like sacrificing my own self-love here to be of service in some way. And so I feel like there is this need to hold truths of the 3D, of the spiritual, of what unconditional love is, of how much to give to self. And this is a very magical dance here where we are human. We have human feelings. We want to be bonded to. We want to be connected to. We want to be told, but words are words. And so telling someone something and showing someone something are sort of two different things here, And sometimes the human wants to hear, and sometimes the human wants to see and feel. But I think the greater truth on a spiritual realm is that the truth cannot be sort of tainted in any sort of way. Yes, we could distort how we see it, but it can't be tainted in any sort of way that makes it the untruth, because the truth is the truth. And I think one thing is very true here is how strong this connection is. And it's riding on this beautiful unconditional love. And I feel like we might have had to really shift how we see love, how we see ourselves, how we think of the universe. Like this is really creating a shift in our own beliefs. And it's creating a very sort of more spiritually balanced version of you that's more connected to the divine, aka your higher self, your greater purpose. And I think without this, we could have just been playing it small, And so Spirit is telling you where you're at here is investing in expanding your connection with the divine, challenging any beliefs that might hold you stuck in place that aren't necessarily true. Keep investing in that. Allow your person to just, sort of figure out what they're needing to do here, that you're a beautiful conscious mirror. And the only thing you can do is be of love and acceptance to this person without, losing yourself or draining yourself or doing anything here where you might start to feel lack or left out. Because if you're feeling lack, left out, and cold or any of that stuff, then we know that we still have beliefs here that we have to sort of see beyond, that there is separation and that there is this version of them that's separate from you, that's creating this lack or that's creating this thing, It's like, no, the truth is your own vibrational love and aligning to that in which is true for you. And I feel like the more you get in alignment with that and your purpose, the less this person can sort of make you feel in any sort of way, you know, because the feelings that we have are driven from our own internal world. Nobody can go inside of ourselves and sort of plant things there. It's how do we take how this person is engaged? How am I taking this? How am I perceiving this? How am I dancing with this person at this point in time? And am I in my purest, authentic position here and understanding the great higher truth? And that's the thing we have to sort of keep asking ourselves here, okay? So I feel like there's a lot of shifts in perception here when it comes to how you see the universe, maybe how you see spirituality, maybe how you see connection, and for sure how you see yourself, how you see the divine. Like, it's just really crazy here how much of a shift is happening, okay? But that's why I said this feels like a very ascended person who's sort of already gone through a spiritual growth and is now on a more complex spiritual journey than maybe someone who's just entered. And your person's spiritual journey is really 3D based, you know? It's like confidence in myself, go after my dreams, know that I'm capable of manifesting what I want and going after what I want here and speaking my truth, and that my feelings are valid, and that I could tell you how I feel, and I could accept love and give love, because I feel there's a block to love here because this person doesn't love themselves. They don't, on the root of the matter, you know, and maybe you have to learn to love certain aspects of yourself, you know, and maybe this is why you double down sort of in your fire intuition, because it was like, you know, going after proving something here, maybe proving your self-worth or like your value in some way, and maybe at the expense of relationship or opening up and trusting this other side. It's like, ooh, watery side, I don't know. You know, it's like, no, watery side is just as valid as the fiery side. And sometimes we're fire and sometimes we're water. And so this could be very sort of discombobulating in some way here. Okay, and so yeah, your person is challenged within themselves to trust themselves. And I think you're a beautiful example to this person of how to not stay small and how to not sort of cling to what they know and to allow themselves to loosen up a little bit here, because I feel they're clinging to a world they know. They're blocked. They're shutting love out, and they're believing their own sort of limitations and that they're incapable of certain things, which is untrue. And Spirit wants them to see their great power of being able to manifest. And the desire here that they do have is something that is worth pursuing and investing and trusting in that whole thing. So I think you're getting out of any sort of confusion that may have happened in the past year with the more you sort of support your own love of self and your own ability to sort of use discernment in connection here. You know, I do feel there's a strong attachment here. There could even be like a codependency between you and this person, you know? It's like you're really sort of needing them in order to, no, you don't need anything, but feeling like you're needing them very much so, because you're still amidst the spiritual revelations and they feel they're needing you because they're going through this lesson of sorts. And so there's this, I don't know, symbiotic sort of a relationship that's happening between you and them that benefits each other in some way, but it could be very codependent. And it's like seeing the truth, you know, where's my strength and where's their sort of strength? And because we could be very selfless here in some way here. And it's like loser self, you know, especially for this codependent and someone who seems so sort of lost here, and you seem so kind of found, but it's like maybe making yourself relevant, you know, in the spiritual realm. It's like, no, you're already relevant. There is no sort of martyring that needs to happen here. Okay, so yeah, this kind of went all over the place. I know it might not be everyone's reading here. Okay, I hope that this resonated for you guys, beautiful people. I love your energy very much. Keep on keeping on, and thank you so much for your service to the collective. It is felt, it's beautiful here, and you know, supporting someone like this is a beautiful gift. You know, it really is here, because this person has been very challenged here, and maybe you didn't even have like a choice, you know, so much, because these things aren't really a choice so much, but it is really you sort of recognizing your impact, to this person, but also to the collective here. The more aligned you are with truth and purpose, it's beautiful. All right, pile number 2, this is your reading. I hope this helped you, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Pile number 3, you guys picked the Heavenly Bloom Tarot, and we're looking at this spiritual connection, regardless what you call it. Okay, this soul bond you have. I'm calling it a twin flame, so I could put a name to it, but you could call it whatever you want, okay, with the person on your mind. And we're looking at, where is this at, okay, in regards to the journey itself. So this could be the person on your mind's energy. This could be a blend of both you guys. This could be your own sort of journey experience, however Spirit wants it to come through. Okay, now I do want to make mention, because I did in all the other piles here, that, and I do feel bad for those of you guys who keep listening to me going on and yapping about the energies I don't like here, because I do appreciate the ones that are here, but there's energy that I must be proactively shifting out of this energy field so that I could channel the messaging. Okay, I channel message, and if there's any distortion in the energy, it will ruin the reading for how I'm trying to deliver the message. So I have to just put a stop to it and put the intention that only those in which are meant to be here are here, and any energy that I'm blocking out of this energy field has to go elsewhere. So if they're here listening to this, it's going to lead them completely in a different direction than that in which they're needing to go here, because that energy cannot stay here. That energy needs to go away. Okay, so nothing to do with preference. I love everyone very, very much here. We're all divine beings, but there's a place and a time in order for energy to be in certain places. And if one rotten blueberry is going to ruin the bunch, then I must do what it takes for the bunch to get their energy, and the one blueberry can go wander in the dark elsewhere. Okay, this is for those of you guys who are needing healing, and also even if this is just one person needing to hear this message, then that is who I'm channeling for. I don't really care so much as the hype up. Okay, this is about who needs to hear this message, and it's for the greatest and highest good of who needs to hear this. Okay, I just needed to say that. So let's take a look at the energy and this connection, the person on your mind, and this journey specifically. Where's it at? What do you need to know? Clear and concise message for pile 3, spirits. Pile 3 is coming here about someone that they're experiencing a connection with, and they want to know, where is this at for the greatest and highest good? Please protect me and the viewer and this connection, the person they came here about, for the greatest and highest good. Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you so much, pile 3, for listening to my rants. We're doing a Celtic cross, and we're diving into the energy of this connection, spiritual nature of this connection, and what it is you need to know at this time about the person on your mind. So we have the covering energy, the crossing energy, subconscious energies, passing energies, crowning energies, future energies. See self, sees environment, hopes and fears, outcome, never to be taken literally. It's going to be channeled here, and then the bottom of the deck, which we'll read shortly. So let's take a look at the oracle cards. We have 82 and 1, happy event, growth level, marriage, holy matrimony, ceremony, wedding, wedlock, sacred union, official commitment, type 1, the perfectionist instinctive center between control and letting go. All right. And we have 46 and 1, anger, aggressiveness, bitterness, fury, rage, irritation, bad mood, type 1, the perfectionist instinctive center between control and letting go. So the silver here gives me the self that is sort of the version of us that is the matrix version of us, okay? Maybe the version who doesn't feel like we're at our highest potential. Maybe it's the self that compares itself to someone better or some different version here with this silver energy. Okay, we have 2 1s, which is 11. 11's a master number, divine inspiration, synchronicity, the encouragement to keep going. And we have Aquarius and Virgo Gemini energy pulling through. And we have jealousy. I get jealous when I think of anyone else having you and stealing you away. Right, by this anger. 3 people here. 2 cups. And then we have desire to win. I'm going to win. I'll look better, do better, and get someone hotter. All right. Ego pulling through here for sure with anger, jealousy, and this illusion of identity. I'm triggered. Oh, this is going to be an interesting energy. So we have distancing, 23 and 5. Conscious awakening, need for understanding, emotional withdrawal, disassociation, fear of intrusion, feeling of emptiness, knowledge dependence. Type 5, the observer thinking center between interior and exterior with the throat chakra here. Taurus and Sagittarius energy. All right. And then we have 6, which is Capricorn and Gemini energy. Veil of ignorance. This is the gold as opposed to the silver, okay? This is the high potential. So being safe and secure. In need of the group. Pessimism, fear, doubt, obedience, and excessive loyalty. Type 6, the loyalist thinking center between mistrust and trust. All right. And then we have gaslighting with 69. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's 15 devil energy. More Capricorn energy. All right, let's take a look at the tarot, shall we? So these cards are a little long. I was sort of going to change my mind in using them, but then they were really calling to me. So we have the Lovers. Oh my goodness, that's the 6 energy. Gemini energy, 2 people here. Okay, and it's crossed by the 8 of Wands. Alrighty. We have the Ace of Laurels. Laurels is Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles. Hopefully you guys can see this. And we have the 7 of Laurels in the reverse. 7 Pentacles. And then in the crowning position, we have the Queen of Laurels. Wow, lots of earth energy here. And Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Okay, and then in the immediate future here, we have the Chariot in reverse. Cancer energy. All right, see self, we have 5 cups and beautiful cherry blossoms. In the seas environment, we have the 6 of Wands. And hopes and fears, here we have Ace of Cups in the reverse. So you have 2 aces in your spread here. Aces are all about new beginnings. Just going to move this up. All right, in the outcome, we have the 2 of Swords. It is in the reverse, but we don't take the energy sort of literal as the outcome here, okay? Because I'm going to be channeling the energy. Getting High Priestess energy from this 2 Swords. So Pisces energy pulling through. And then we have the Devil at the bottom of the deck. I knew this reading was going to be crazy. And the Tower at the bottom of that in the reverse. My goodness, what's under that? 6 of Cups. Oh my goodness, this reading. This reading. How crazy. Alrighty. Crazy intense. Let me, Capricorn here. Okay, let me dive into this energy. This might take a bit. You can definitely skip ahead as I shuffle around this energy till I feel it's where I need. Okay, pile number 3. I still have some questions here regarding this, which hopefully it becomes clear as I channel this energy for you. Oh my goodness, where do I begin with this energy? You guys got the Devil at the bottom of the deck. Wowzers. Wow, 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 wow. So let me just get some signs here for you, okay? We have Capricorn, strong, Gemini, Virgo, Taurus, and Cancer, and Pisces, and I don't know if I said Sagittarius, but it's here. Okay, so the Devil. This connection feels really intense here. Very, 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 very intense. super intense. I can't even stress to you how intense. You already know. Okay. And the reason that the intensity happens is so it can drive about changes. If it were just a run-of-the-mill experience and nobody would change anything, what does it mean change? What do I need to change? Can't I just be? Isn't just being enough? It's yes and no. A being state is good when the false falls away, but we think we're being in our truest capacity when really we're just stemming from subconscious fears. This whole experience is to dissolve the false that is not us. And we could totally believe that it's us because it's who we've always sort of been acting as, the player. Now, I'm not saying like player as in like, someone that's cheating and running around playing people. I mean player as in the actor in the game or the play. We really believe we're the dream character. And we cannot, it's like, this is the analogy, okay? Let's say we were in the screen, in the movie, acting like the actor. And then there's a world and people sitting outside in the theater looking at the screen, watching the movie. That actor inside that movie screen does not know that there's a world that's happening outside of itself. And it's like trying to get that actor to know that it's acting. Of course, an actor would know because that's what they do for a living. But that actual actor itself, like the acting person, wouldn't look at the screen and be like, hello there, movie theater. Like, no. And so that actor cannot know that it's there, And so how do we know that we're actually observing? Now, this is getting very deep and I don't want to lose all of you guys, but I do feel like the journey here is one about seeing the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are has to shatter the illusion of who we're not, no matter who we say that we are. So if you're here and you're really sort of pulled energetically with this person and it's causing a lot of emotions within you that don't feel very good and it's very intense, I'm going to tell you this, and you could believe this or not believe this. It's up to you to sort of sort through this whole thing. You most likely believe in a version of you that's not true. It's not necessarily who you are. And so we live a lie until we don't know more and we dissolve what's not us. Because why? We're misaligned with the greatest purpose and truth of what we're being called to do here. So you have an agreement with this person. Okay, this is a past life soul bond with someone who says, I'm going to come here to trigger you in this lifetime so you can grow spiritually and find your purpose. Otherwise, you'll just keep thinking you're the actor in the play. And you could be the person that's triggering your person for sure, because I feel it's a mutual thing happening here. So if you've already sort of awoken to this, because this feels like an awakening of sorts, which is definitely in line with the twin flame, okay? Because if you don't have an awakening, it's not your twin flame. Awakening as in your spiritual awakening. You must have a spiritual awakening for it to be a twin flame, okay? Now, it could be a soul connection. It could be definitely real. It could be all sorts of things. It's all spiritual. But when we talk about twin flame language, there must be an awakening of our true nature, okay? And so I feel like there is childhood at the root of what needs to sort of be seen through in order for there to be the true self sort of emerging. And so we could have understandings about ourselves that have created a world around us based on our upbringing, based on our childhood. So if we've had a challenging childhood, we've coped with that and created a version of us that acts in certain ways. And so we could be, okay, this definitely could be your person's energy as well. Okay, could be mirrored, like I said. So you got to kind of apply it to where you see fit. I feel there's a strong pull, both of you guys, but I do feel like there is this the unhealthy coping way that was stemmed by an experience, of the past, the childhood, something here. Maybe we lost our innocence. Maybe we needed to protect our innocence. Whatever this was, has created a coping mechanism. Could be sex, drugs, rock and roll. Okay? Or just a real unhealthy way of engaging in a relationship. So I feel like there is something here. It does feel very, very, very much in pain, okay? And it could be mirrored because I'm feeling pain from both sides. And this pain that we feel, it enacts in certain ways. A lot of you guys could definitely be dealing with someone that is in a third party. You could be in a third party. Both you guys could be in a third party, because I do feel like we've been creating a world around us that definitely involves some world before you came in the picture or they came in the picture, our soulmate, our family, our whatever it was. Okay, for some of you guys, this person could certainly be just like a, I don't know, somebody here who likes to date around in some way, or just like superficially sort of keep themselves busy here. If they're not in a union already, like a soulmate sort of union here. But whatever they are in here, I feel is misaligned to the truth. And so I feel like there is this instability that's created by the environments that both you guys have created for yourself. And it's like looking at it and saying, what's true? Like, do you truly want to choose another person? Do you truly want to choose the superficial? Do you truly want to choose to go down whatever path you've been going down? And when this person's fear and this experience, this coping mechanism kicks in, they'll forever choose that path, because it isn't necessarily a choice for them so much as it is a coping mechanism and an instinctual sort of action that's created by the ego or the shadow or the pain or the trauma or the self that creates this protective thing. And I feel like it reflects back to you this uncomfortable feeling that makes you feel not chosen. It makes you feel, you can't help but feel like this person is letting you down. You might feel resentments because this person hasn't chosen you. You don't feel chosen. And that's how you feel, but that's not the truth. And so this is the thing we have to work through, is like, this isn't a thing about choice at this point in time. At this point in time, this is about dissolving and seeing through the illusion of the devil. That's the only thing that's required first, because it can't become a conscious choice when the devil is still there. It's like this. If I really believed I saw this big shadowy monster with teeth and claws and it was in front of the door, I'm not going to go towards it. I'm going to like move back, like, whoa, But if I knew that that shadow was just like the coach tree or whatever, making a shadow, and there was no monster there with teeth and I could go through the door, I would go through the door consciously. My choices would be different based on my perception. Is there a threat right there? And if I believe there's a threat, then I make a choice. But it's not a real choice, because the real choice was it was never a monster there. It was just a shadow from the coach tree. I hope this makes sense. Okay, so, but when you are engaged with someone like this, you're saying they didn't go through the door. The choice was theirs. Go through the door. And they chose to just fall back. It's like, yeah, they fell back because they were seeing the coach tree as a real monster with teeth. Now, whose fault is that? It's not even about fault so much as it is they're believing in a distorted thing here. But as they believe in that, you're also believing in a distorted thing. What's your distorted belief? That this person's consciously choosing. They didn't go through the door. No, that's false. You're also doing the same thing here. It's mirrored, because you're giving away that understanding as though it's a truth here. It's like, no, if you said they saw the coat tree and they thought it was a monster, so it wasn't a choice, I wouldn't feel as angry or rejected or disappointed. So once you're conscious and see through your devil, then your person becomes conscious and sees through the devil. I feel like your actions are really determined by how much of this devil is being seen through. And then it same with your person. So if there's a lot of devil shadow and our beliefs are completely distorted. Why we're angry, what we're projecting onto the other person, and then acting like that's the truth of the matter. The more of this devil exists, which is the untruths, it's just perceptions, giving life to perceptions and ideas. The more devil exists, I feel the more in line with that devil we act, and it's away from conscious choice. And so this is why our job is to shed the devil or allow the false to fall. And I feel like there's an upkeeping of devil. There's an upkeeping of the false belief, because we could get very much a habitual pattern in staying in victim mode, or a habitual pattern in the brain's firing in the same way over and over and over, saying the exact same thing. So if it's like, I'm not chosen, or my brain keeps going back to the same story, it's going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And this is saying, do you want to break through? Do you want movement? Do you want to move forward here in this connection? Then we have to have a breakthrough, and the breakthrough only happens through conscious choice. Conscious means I don't just let the brain fire on all cylinders. I don't just let the stories take a life of themselves because I feel disappointed. That's my truth, and that's what I'm going to feel. It's like, yes, feel what you feel, but the conscious choice is seeing beyond the devil, that there is no monster in the shadowy thing in the way of the doorway. And when we're conscious, we can see that it's a coach tree, and only you have the power to do this. And so when you do this, then your person does this. Right now they have shadows and distortions, because I feel you have shadows and distortions, because you're saying what they're doing means this, that, and the other. And then it makes me feel upset, angry, triggered, and it makes me sort of believe in my own devil even more. So there is no devil, there's just shadow and absence of truth. That is the devil. Okay, and I'm going to use the analogy again. So this thing, and then the light is the truth. Okay, the sunlight's the truth. And when we have an obstructive thought here, a belief in lack, or whatever this obstructive thought is, and the light hits it, it creates a shadow. The shadow is the devil. If I say, touch that shadow, bring that shadow to me, put it on a scale, touch it, weigh it, it's not a thing. But everyone would point at it and say, well, it is a thing. Look, there is the shadow. I see the shadow. So we see the shadow, but the shadow can only be created by the obstruction and the light itself. If the obstruction wasn't there, the shadow wouldn't be created. So illusion, distortion has to rely upon something, because it can't exist on its own. Why? Because only the truth exists on its own. The sun doesn't need anything to exist. The sun is the sun. It's the truth. It radiates light. The sun's going to shine light on everything. It doesn't discriminate. That's the truth. The truth is the truth. So here's the sunlight. Here's the truth. Okay. And so if we have a distorted belief, an obstruction, something here that's casting, that gets in the way of this truth, it's the absence of the truth. And this absence of the truth creates this shadowy part. It's not true. This is why I'm saying it's an illusion here. You remove this, it falls away. Illusions fall. Illusions fall. What's not true will fall. When you see the truth, when you see this thing is not the sun, it's not true. It's created and upheld. This is upheld by a belief. This is upheld by a perception. This is upheld, and I can uphold this thing all I want. And the sun will keep hitting against it, creating shadows all day long. It's up to me. But when I'm conscious, I say, hey, I have this thing, and I could dissolve, transmute this thing. I could do something with this thing. It's up to me. I'm conscious. Do I want to have a breakthrough? What do I want to do? I want to do something with this thing because it's creating a shadow. It's creating a devil. It's creating something here. I don't want that. I just want sunlight and truth. Sunlight and truth is consciousness. Okay, so in order to be conscious in this connection, only you can do that to yourself. And if this is a spiritual connection, which I do feel it really is very tied. And what you do mirrors to your person. So when I stand in truth, your person stands in truth. When I stand in fear, shadow, and distortion, then your person's in shadow and distortion. Okay? And so I feel like there is an energy here of not getting anywhere. We haven't gotten anywhere. We could have been trying, or we could have just been doing whatever we were doing here, doubling down and holding up this thing and getting in the way of the sun, thinking, this is tiring. It's tiring. It doesn't mean we weren't doing anything, but what we were doing wasn't the effort in removing the thing, removing the block or the obstacle or the shadow or the thing that was casting the shadow or creating the shadow. So it doesn't matter how much effort I put in. I was telling them I liked them. I was invested. I was giving to them. I was like, yeah, but we were just feeding the devil. We were feeding the illusion. We were upkeeping the block. And now the energy and the effort must go to remove the block, which means I must see through the thing that isn't real here and let it fall. Transmute it. See beyond it. So there's something about yourself that you're having to really connect to and see. These are all dancing, are really crazy, these cards. Okay, so Queen of Pentacles. This is a journey of self, getting grounded in the truth of oneself. Okay, this is seeing that we are of value, that we are stable, grounded, secure, and having to manage in the 3D here in a capable, beautiful energy. That is the truth. There is no thing that's required here in order for you to manage yourself in the 3D. That is a devilly belief if we think that we need another person or that there is someone else that's going to sort of validate our existence here, whether we're capable or not capable, or whether we're good or not, or anything like this. So I feel like right now, the big message here, okay, because I could go on forever, is about seeing through your own shadow, which means what? Which means the blockages we have. So these are beliefs, these are experiences I had that I hold as true. This is my own story that I create about myself and what I'm capable of, or what's good or what's bad about me, or a relationship, or anything like this that gets in the way of the truth. Because Spirit wants you to get grounded. The Spirit wants you to part with what isn't you, let the false fall away, and get balanced. And then things will move. Spirit is saying right now, there's a resistance to where Spirit is wanting you to go. And until you get grounded, until you do this, Spirit says you will be sort of here, triggered, feeling annoyed, feeling tired, feeling exhausted. And I do feel like there is work to be done. And I don't feel like you've done the work. I don't care how tired you are. And you might not like to hear that, It's like, but I did, or I am, or I don't care if you spent 8 years watching tarot or 10 years meditating on your pillow. What you were supporting, what I see here, is your distorted belief. You're upkeeping the illusion that's creating the suffering here. That energy needs to go towards the actual dissolution of this thing that you hold, which is a belief that's getting in the way of your groundedness, your balancedness, your ability to work with the divine, flow with the energy here, and release what's not real. And so I don't know if you're given into like the same habitual thing that you always do, the same self-speak, or I don't know, given into drinking, snorting coke. I don't know what you're doing, okay? Maybe it's not you. Like I said, if it's not you, it's not your pile here, okay? I don't know. Something's happened here. And so also, this doesn't mean judging this, because again, there's no such thing as good or bad. This just means being conscious of what I'm choosing to do here. And if it must be something that's supported on something else, then it's not true. Illusions need a third thing to sort of support it. You remove it, it's no longer there. Okay? So Spirit wants you to seek the truth, remove what's not true, allow yourself to get grounded and balanced. And so easier said than done here. Okay, but that's your soul focus first in order for things to move and flow in this connection. So I feel like there is a victim story that you're holding on to here, okay? And I did say this with one, and I'll say it here because I do feel this needs to be said. Only our perception can hold the victim story and be victimized. So this should be very liberating. It's like there's no way to be a victim ever and suffer if I know that I have the power to change my perception. And people could get very threatened by this whole thing because they want to keep that victim story alive. But this really did happen. Whatever it was, the abuse, the rape, the whatever. And this isn't saying that those things didn't happen and it's not painful. Of course, But this is the life of everyone with the ups and downs, the accidents, the misfortunes. They happen just like the peaks and valleys of life. They happen with everyone, and it's always up, down. It's form. It manifests, unmanifests. It's always a constant. But what we can sort of control here is how we intake that experience, and we can either be victim and suffer, or we could change our perception. That's all we could do. This is all about perception, our understanding. And so there's a victim story here that I believe to be true, and I keep casting the same shadow over and over and over, keeping this devil alive, and then getting frustrated at everyone else why the devil exists. It's them. It's this thing. So I feel your person's probably in a third party here, and you're not liking it. And it's making you feel all sorts of ways. And so I'll just sort of be angry, and I'll be upset, and I'll still say they didn't see the truth. They didn't see the good thing that they could have had. And look at me. I'm this, that, and the other. All a bunch of devil. Okay, because this isn't about drama. This isn't about choosing. This isn't about third party. This isn't anything except for removing the illusion, which is the beliefs we hold, the victim story we hold. And I feel like you and your person are mirrored, because I feel like your person is hella in ego here, but I feel you are as well, okay? If this is your reading. And I feel your person is very much about their image. So I'm going to do and stick to, and you see this for sure, because this is what's making you upset. That's not even them. They're just sort of lying to themselves. They're going with that third party or that relationship or that marriage or that thing. It's not even them. And you just see that, And it's like, oh, yeah, but it's like you're seeing it because it's in you. You wouldn't be able to recognize it if it wasn't in you. Why? What do you mean it's in me? I'm not choosing someone that's not. It's like, no, but what you are choosing is to believe in a lie. And the devil, you're seeing them cower from the shadow in the doorway, thinking that there's teeth, and you're like, no. It's like, yeah, but you're doing the same thing too. And so finally, when you embrace the truth and see that this person isn't consciously choosing, you could see the devil in action. And the only way to see the devil in action in them is the devil in action in you. Where's the shadow being created? Where's the victim story being created? Where are you consciously making choices and shifting how you perceive things and dropping things that aren't true in your world, that are actually hindering your growth here, habitual ways of being and maybe patterns, ways of thinking, bad habits, because this could just be about habitually sort of making a world around you that is healthy. And so maybe you have like a bad habit here, and Spirit's like, no, get your health in order here. Like, what are you intaking? And we're too busy sort of focused on something else to divert from the real truth, Meanwhile, we're maybe one sandwich away from a coronary. Now, I hope not, sorry, but this is how it's coming through. Like, we have to really sit with our own energy here. And I feel like there's a need to get very balanced here. We need to get very grounded here. I need to come to the practical world and see the truth for what it is. I feel like there's a lot of distracting oneself, putting it onto this connection or someplace else in order to divert the energy. So I'm going to distract. I'm going to do whatever. And then we wonder why we sit like this. It's like, yeah, because we keep choosing. That's the conscious choice. That's the seeing the monster in the doorway and always seeing the monster. And we're not saying what's the coat rack. Why? Because we keep choosing to divert. That is the conscious choice. Do I divert right now? Do I distract? Do I go on my phone? Do I keep listening to tarot? Do I pretend? Do I keep going with the same mental thing? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Then why? Because I'm addicted to the victim story. It's up to us. Only we could break that habit. Only we could break that chain. And your person, yes, they are doing exactly what you're saying. And they're doing that because you're doing what you're doing. So keep doing what you're doing and you'll get what you got. And there's a block here. And Spirit says, oh, well, then it won't move then. I could stay here all day. I'm the universe. I don't care. Go ahead. Because why? Because this lesson is about your own self-worth and your own self-value and your own impact on your world in order to align with truth, not align with devil, not align with what's not for you, but really truly connect to what's true here. Okay? So I feel like there is a lack of bonding to one's own true nature, which is that of love. And so we have to connect to ourself before we connect with other. And I feel like you want to connect with the other, or you want it to already, you're jumping over the work in order to make the thing happen. It's like the thing won't happen until we start from the bottom, start from the place where we're at. And where you're at is not good. We have to undo this. We have to work our way through self-love. We have to sit with ourselves through seeing through the devil, the shadow, and all of the stuff that I lied about or am distracting about or believe about. Okay, it doesn't even have to be a lie so much. I call it the lie because it's the illusion, or it's the self-deception, or it's the belief that upkeeps the victim story. That's a lie. It's not true. It's just it's reinforced by something else. It doesn't exist on its own. You're reinforcing it. So as long as we stay attached to what happened, we keep it alive. What happened in the past? What hurt me? We keep it alive. And that's a choice. Consciously, you could keep that alive forever. And so we got to consciously know, where am I at? And I'm in this present moment, what I need to do here so that I could see my options in front of me. Okay, so there's no doubt that this person is in shadow and is misaligned, and that they, that there's something real here for sure, And maybe there is this understanding that you guys are supposed to come into some form of union, some form of sacred union, an official sort of commitment here that's true and not based on shadows and egos. But it's like, well, that's not happening. And it's not going to happen until we sort of remove the devil from our own world. So you're being called to remove the devil from your own world. This person's triggered you to do this. And this could be very triggering. For sure, because otherwise we'd just be distracted eating chips all day long. We wouldn't have the urge to do any of this stuff. Okay, so I feel like you can't come into union with this person until we are truly opening from a heart space and understanding ourselves. And so this distance is much needed. I feel like your person could sense your energy and it is distant from you. Now, they might not be consciously choosing to be distant, but this is the universe keeping them at bay here. So you have to be in an energy, I feel, on your own that is secure, healthy, stable, grounded, balanced, before this person can even sort of entertain you, And I feel like you could stay focused on what's not working and what they do and this, that, and the other all day long here. And Spirit keeps saying that's investing in the thing that you actually don't want. And like I was saying, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Because you could make reasons why all day long. And good, you're right. If you say you're right, you're right. I believe you, you're right. But it's not about right. This is about truly aligning with the authentic truth and happiness here in order to be balanced and healed from this thing. Of course, your experience is right. You had it. Your perception of what you experienced is right to you, but it's just a perception of experience here. And the only one keeping this alive is you, attached to that thing. And you might have to go through frustration and anger and blame and pointing fingers and seeing their ego and and on and go on. You could do that. Go ahead, get it out of your system, but to know you're doing that. And say, okay, now I'm done doing that. And we could just blame the third party and we could, keep going on about that because we'll keep seeing things that are wrong there because there are lots of things that are going on there. We could stop it right now and expedite this process. And expediting it means what? It means meet myself where I'm at right now. I'm going to acknowledge my own devil going on here, my own thing. Because in your world right now, there's a whole bunch of things here that aren't aligned with your greatest and highest good. And the way that you're sort of coping is distracting yourself, the victim story here. So it's up to you at the end of the day. And I feel like your person is removed. Your person is completely in La La Land. Completely. And you'd be right. And I feel like you're completely in La La Land too, It's a perfect mirror. And the further you double down in that, in your beliefs and whatever, weave that into your understanding, the more this person is sort of in that, and you'll see it even more. It's very magnified here, how misaligned they are. But that means to the extent of the misalignment you see is to the extent of your own misalignment. And I'm just talking about spiritual connection here who's tied to you. Because, of course, we're not accountable or responsible for another person's misfortunes, of course. I'm not saying that at all. And if that's what you're reading here, then bye-bye, you're totally out to lunch, even more out to lunch. This is talking about a spiritual union where souls are intertwined here energetically. This is what twin flames are about. I don't care if you believe it or don't believe it. If you have a soul person here that's showing you a conscious mirror of your own soul, you guys are tied. And what you do impacts this person's energy. And if you're out to lunch, they're out to lunch. If you're dancing with the devil, they're dancing with the devil. If you're completely misaligned in your world, distracted, and projecting, guess what they're doing? Completely misaligned, distracted, and projecting. They have no involvement here with you. So you want them to see the truth, see your own truth. You want to have a breakthrough here? Then Spirit says, I'm ready. I'm ready to work with you, but you're completely out of balance. You're completely fighting this whole thing, whether you believe it or not, by where you're putting your energy. And so it's like, be conscious right now. What am I telling myself? What story am I carrying? I could stop this thing. And of course, it's going to be bit by bit by bit. It's kind of like putting the drop in the bucket. You have these two buckets. And right now the victim bucket is so heavy that it's driving the show. And we might get in front of it once and take some water out of it and put in the other bucket. And it's like, whoa, but there's still a victim. And then we could get very discouraged. But it's like drop by drop by drop. Every time a thought comes in that's more victim, get in front of it, get in front of it, get in front of it. And eventually, before you know it, the momentum of the truth and the authenticity outweighs this victim story. But right now, the victim story is a big fat bucket here. And you can get very discouraged, because it's drop by drop by drop by drop. It might feel like nothing at first, but to think of it as accrued interest. After a while, this bucket becomes heavy, the bucket of truth. And you'll see through that illusion, and then it falls away, falls away, falls away. So you're attached to some, it's the victim story about how they did you dirty or whatever this person is doing, and it's misaligned, and you could definitely keep projecting your outward vision there, and it's saying, pull it back to self. And there is something very true about this bond for sure, or else why would we feel the way that we feel? So there is something true here, but it's like, okay, it's showing me something about myself here. And so I need to just sit with this energy and sort of play a devil's advocate then, ask myself certain questions, see beyond what I'm saying and thinking. And I feel like Spirit is really telling you at this point in the journey, when you get to this beautiful Queen of Pentacle energy, grounded in the 3D, secure, no longer distracted, capable, confident, beautiful energy, then you'll have a breakthrough here. You most likely will hear from your person if you're wanting to, of course, in a different energy. Then there'll be the flow of the universe. Then we're no longer resisting where we're being sort of guided here. And right now we're resisting the flow of the universe, which is calling us to do the work because we're too focused on the victim story and the loss and what didn't happen and all of this. And so your person's in la la land trying to upkeep some circus about who they are and what they look like, completely an ego. All right. So sorry it came out like this, but this is your reading. Pile number 3. I hope this helped you. And I know people get annoyed when I read like this and I lose subscribers. If it triggered you, then it's touching some sort of chord. Okay, if this isn't your story, then it's indifferent. Who cares? Go see another reading. This isn't your story, then it's someone else's. Someone else needed to hear this thing, So I do say it's whatever. The more triggered we are, probably the more in shadow we are, And so triggering only happens when there's a wound, when there's a shadow, when there's something that is raw here that needs to be looked at. And so you could say, thank you, Linda, or thank you for telling me what it's not, And it's not even Linda, it's Spirit. I'm just reading cards here, okay? So do what you will. Suffer some more if you need to, But it's definitely up to you. All right, beautiful angel. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you at the next one. All right, bye-bye.